It's time now to join Peter G, who's out at the City Oval for our day's match. And Peter, Frankston on top of the ladder. Box Hill, unfortunately, yet really to make its mark so far this year.
Unfortunately, Bev, I think they might have pencilled in 2 wins before the season start. We saw them first up against North Ballarat. They lost that one. And then against Coburg, who have had a pretty horrid run over the last few years. Good win for the Lions last week. So Box Hill are 0-2 rather than 2-0. I think that was part of their problem, unfortunately. Glorious day here, Bev. Who would have thought it, given the week that we've had? It's a sensational afternoon here. The muddy centre at Box Hill, I think, will be bypassed as much as possible today. Taking a look at the ladder, we've got the top team, Frankston, who have been superb so far this season. They have played the 2 new chums in Terrelgan and North Ballarat, so they meet an old VFA foe here today, so maybe they might come back to the field just a little bit. But the top 5 is Frankston, Williamstown, Coburg, Sandringham and Port Melbourne, with Box Hill. A lot to prove down there in second last place on the ladder. Philip Cleary, good afternoon. Welcome to City Oval, where we believe there have been some crisis talks this week. So poor has their start been?
Oh, I don't think John Murphy was too happy to hear those words come from your mouth there, Peter. But obvious problems for Box Hill. You know, a tricky game first up against North Ballarat, and then Coburg in great form last week and in against a really good side in Frankston. I've been saying for a long time with Frankston, get the right setup at the top end of town, the coaching, and they're going to be very, very hard to beat. Not Rhys Jones will be a really important ingredient at Frankston.
Well, take a look at the Box Hill lineup first. With Rhys Jones at centre-half forward, they've decided to go with Slater playing just his 3rd game for Box Hill from Richmond today, up against Rhys Jones.
Well, I'd have put McNamara there. I'd have put Johnny McNamara, who's at centre-half back, straight down to centre-half forward and said, right, you are the man who must take Rhys Jones to town, put him off his game by playing well, upset his coaching. I mean, I know Rhys Jones is laconic and can manage it, but still, I think a baptism of fire for McNamara. The side looks all right. A lot of injuries. No Wilkinson, no Burke, no Heaney, no Banfield, no Crowley.
Scott Dwayne and Darren Payne in for their first games for the Hillman. Well, here's the Frankston lineup. We've got 3 sets of brothers running around there. 4, in fact, sets of players with the same name. So,
and 2 Aboriginals, Peter. So we've got every kind of combination.
Heath
there.
Mead has kicked 9 goals, ruck-roving forward pocket this year.
I love him as a player. 6 goals. He's a very, very exciting boy, Heath Mead. That's a very good lineup. Rhys Jones at centre-half back. Clark in the ruck. A good side. They're going to be very hard to beat today.
Well, Ross Booth is down at ground level. A little bit squishy, Ross, but perfect afternoon. Do you think Box Hill might have wished it was raining?
Well, it's not that bad at all, Peter. The City Council has done a lot of work on the ground in recent years, and it's very good. The umpire's bouncing ball, probably not just away from that centre circle where they'll have a pad, of course, but the ground in very good conditions, no breeze, and it's quite warm. Should be a beautiful day for football.
Well, I spoke to the coaches before the game, and I put it to John Murphy that maybe it's a blessing in disguise to be playing a team that is in such good form. Great incentive to turn the corner for the Mustangs.
Well, look at it both ways, couldn't you? You know, I think it's a positive. We're taking it as a positive that they've had 2 very good wins against, you know, the new teams in the comp, and no, we'll be hard at it today. Whether it's good enough on the day, but our blokes will be feeding it today.
David Rhys Jones seems to have been marshalling things very well at centre-half back for them and feeding the ball out to his players, and they've been doing the rest. Any special plans to try and counteract the hyphen?
Who?
The hyphen, David Rhys Jones.
Oh, is he playing, is he?
He is.
Oh, right. No, not worried about him at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
They have a lot to prove. Is that what you've been drumming into your players this week?
Well, you don't really have to drum those things, VFA grounds or VFL grounds now do hold an advantage to the home team, and we've had a couple at home now. We've got our first one away, and obviously, they're going to be very fired up for it.
You've had 10 goal kickers in each of your games. Has that been an important aspect in the victories?
Well, it's a terrific sign. It shows that we're running well and combining well, and it's always a good sign not to have only 1 or 2 or 3 main goal kickers. I mean, we've been able to spread it out quite well so far.
Heath Mead's kicked 9 goals already. Is that a bit of a bonus, having a little guy like that, being able to be so proficient around goal?
Oh, well, we've got some good big blokes, and it probably makes it easier for the smaller blokes to crumb off. So it's working pretty well at the moment, and Meady's actually able to capitalise on it.
Well, things underway here. They haven't gone very far. Finally, they're going to get it into some form of attack. The Frankston Dolphins with Stephen Ryan putting the ball out in front of David Taylor. and it's knocked over the boundary line. But it's going to be a struggle, I think, already that's become evident. If you wonder who that team is in the red, it is Frankston. This is the new Dolphins outfit this year, and they haven't lost yet. Umpires are Corin Rowe, Andrew Giles and Michael Vozzo.
And it's a much better outfit, Peter. That was very dour, that black, I think it was black they used to wear, Roscoe, wasn't it? You're a bit of a fashion man.
It was dour even
Yeah,
as
it was
well,
black with a little red and white stripe down the side. We might see it occasionally into 50. Benfield with the spoil. Mullane, who's been in great form, played his 150th last week. Up to Stubbs. Regan Stubbs.
And we notice that John McNamara up the other end of the ground has lined up on Reece Jones and Stubbs there. Sorry,
Yeah,
Roscoe.
correct.
Dennis.
No, I said Dennis Stubbs, yes. I'm thinking of the Springvale Regan Stubbs. So he's one of the two brothers. Richard the other one. Well, he rushed that a bit. Put it very wide.
Good call, Philip.
Yes, we'll talk about that as it transpires, that development.
So obviously John Murphy did have some plans for David Reece-Jones.
Which is good to see.
Stubbs up very early. But, gee, the rucks are going to have some work today if the first few minutes is anything to go by. There's Reece-Jones, centre-half back. He's been marking everything, and he always uses the ball very well, and his teammates have not let him down further down the field. There's O'Neill knocking the ball down. Brett Bowie, who had 1 million kicks last week. Ball knocked out of Taylor's hands. Greg tries to go to the boundary. This is better. Jared O'Neill charging straight through. That's a good sign for the Mustangs. They're good players, haven't been playing well so far this season. There's the new player, Scott Dwayne. Oh, it's come undone. Lee Taylor shoots and puts it through. Well, there's not using the ball correctly and being penalised.
Well, that looks so promising, and this kills you in modern football. The ball mistakes picked up by opposition sides now are so skillful around the goals. And there's Lee Taylor, centre-half forward, banging one through the former Dandenong Redlegs player. See, O'Neill puts the ball out.
Scott Dwayne's first game, Philip.
Yes, and he goes inboard and he uses his right hand with the handball, Peter, when ideally it should have been the left to get the angle right on the ball. Big mistake.
And they go forward again. Stubbs. Now it's George. Just used the body well. David George, skillful player, half-forward flanker. Left-footed kick. The back is Richard Stubbs, and he might have knocked it inside the line. He's a left-footer, so it's going to be a difficult angle for him, and he chooses instead. We can't, because the umpire says, I haven't lined you up on your mark. But he still might prefer to come inboard. It's a tight angle for him. Was he going to try and boomerang it through? He is. And his brother in the goal square likes it. He's clapped. Oh. And he's put it through, Richard Stubbs. So the Stubbs brothers are each on the board.
Well, this is a bad sign, really, for the Box Hill side. Slater down there picking up Richard Stubbs in the forward pocket. Adam Slater, who played on the forward line in the first game against North Ballarat. And here's Richard Stubbs, a big man that he's picking up, and they've gotten away from Stubbs and Taylor with 2 quick goals. And Box are going to really have to get on their game.
Well, they've got to get it past half forward. They haven't managed it so far. Hitting the ball hard, Darren Payne in his first game. Supplementary list player from the AFL. He shot it out again. Stephen Ryan gets them back up from David Reece-Jones. His handball's knocked astray. Sean Mullane's caught. Now a handball goes to Box Hill. They can make something of a turnover. Nice handing off, but a appalling kick for goal. Who was that? Oh, dear. That's Dean Grace, and John Murphy cannot believe it. Good spinning of the ball. Murley got it out to him, and Grace, an atrocious left footer. Not such a good kick in. Dean Gregg. Cohen tried to shepherd for him. It's been forced right up to the centre wing. Out of sight of the ground. It's gone out off the full. On the full, must have hit a Box Hill boot, so nothing going the Mustangs' way.
Just a little breeze in favour of Frankston. There's the under-18 score. The Rangers beating the Cannons comfortably. Quite a few, I think on 20 occasions this year, there'll be under-18 matches as curtain raisers to VFL games. And
reserves game between Box Hill and Frankston was played in another location with a huge 10-goal win to Frankston over Box Hill.
Taylor Lee in the one in the ruck, inside 50, out by Pickering. Looked a bit suspect. Heath Mead gives it off to Mullane. The kick chopped off by Heath Goodale.
Goodale's kick to the running Badrock. He's met solidly by have a guess who. Oh! Holding the solar plexus, Reece Jones, but there's Livingston. His pass is a beauty.
Well,
And here's the bloke who made the mistake down the other end. He can make amends, Scott Dwayne. Came from Ringwood, which has been a pretty good breeding ground for Box Hill players over the last few years.
Tell you what, Reece Jones really had the wind knocked out of the sails when he collided with Zach Badrock. This goal, very important, very important.
Oh, that's going to restore the confidence. Well done to the 23-year-old.
Well, there was good movement from the back half by the Mustangs. They've got enough talent to be doing better than they've done in these first 2 games of the season, although they've... There you see it. Reece Jones
Now,
laying the tackle there, and Zach, oh, just popped one in there. But I don't know whether that's what hurt Reece or was it the bump. I didn't actually spot that little short to the ribs.
Peter did.
Yes.
good rip, wasn't it?
Wasn't bad at all.
There's Badrock, who was in that clash. Goodale. Could tackle Burnell. Bowie was quick. Moore with the left foot towards Andrew Pickering. Couldn't quite hold it. George in strongly. It's all Frankston. Harder at the ball. Cleared by Griffin, or not very far. Over it was Badrock, out by Cohen. And no easy kicks just at the moment. Mullane pulled off the ball looking for the free. Bowie gave it to Burnell. He's a left footer. Did well with the right. Slater. Now down to Lee Taylor. He's kicked one and he hasn't hooked that one enough. But Richard Stubbs is there.
Gee, that backline play of Box Hill leaves a lot to be desired. There, Slater came out and double-fisted the ball straight back into the corridor. Could have put the ball anywhere, or he could have marked the ball. Wouldn't be a worry for Box Hill, I think, the back half.
An easier shot than his previous one, which he put through. Confident,
Easy
big kick, and the second one for Richard Stubbs. And Frankston now have an 11-point lead.
Well, you've got 3 goals through the key forwards down there, including Richard Stubbs, the key, given his height. Taylor 1 and Richard Stubbs 2. Burnell putting the ball around the corner, and you see that punch there. He could have marked the ball. Slater, I am always for punching the ball in the defence when you're under pressure. But on that occasion, not clever.
Well picked up by Dwayne. In the muddy centre, he slipped when he kicked it, but still got it a good distance. David Reece-Jones. McNamara was right with him. Oh, handballer straight to Murley. The rover couldn't quite thread it. No, the ball definitely on the other side of the post, sir. Didn't like the call. That's Brent Dower on the mark. What a huge kick in. It's a beauty too. Taylor held up by Badrock.
Good work, that kick in there, Peter.
David Taylor's kick. Daniel Clark will play on. This is 3 kicks and they've had a shot at goal almost. Oh, it's Stubbs. We should have marked that. McBean. Oh, he's held, but he didn't have it.
That's terrible play by Jared O'Neill to overrun the mark there and let Clark through. That was really not thought out.
Jason McBean, we're used to seeing him in the front half. Awkward kicking style. Mark almost pulled down. Stubbs shooting the ball out to Mullane. He spotted somebody. Beautiful kick to Lee Taylor. Well done, Sean Mullane. And Taylor under a bit of pressure. Hands didn't let him down.
Well, these big fellas on the forward line for Frankston causing all sorts of problems. We could have the 4th goal, 2 and 2. If Taylor kicks, or having already kicked 1.
Yeah, they don't move down there. So, terrific start from the Dolphins. They are on a high at the moment. This team have promised so much for years. It's a different looking lineup, admittedly, but the club has promised so much.
Yeah, it's a good piece of work here. Clark over to Mullane. Mullane always uses those chip passes very well. Taylor playing well at centre-half forward. Stubbs playing well in the forward pocket. And Box Hill missing that man Banfield at fullback. A great defender, cool as a cucumber.
Torn quadricep is the problem with David Banfield on top of all his knee worries.
Box Hill on the counter-attack. Charles with the blonde hair trying to spoil. He got it to ground level, came back to him, had to put it onto his boot pretty quickly. And Greg's in front of Taylor. Races away with it. Looking wide, looking for Dwayne. Burnell.
Good play, Burnell under pressure.
Finds a man in George. Well, dry enough to run and bounce. The reverse spiral punt. Into Stubbs. Check side on the left foot, but way across to the right.
What about the way he picked the ball up there?
Bit of mobility.
The Stubbs boys, I think, have improved. There's Johnny Murphy. Be a little worried. They've had a couple of opportunities, but I think that forward or back line set up, and there's one of the men, Slater, with a job on Richard Stubbs. Not all that mobile, whether he can handle it remains to be seen.
12 minutes played. 17-point lead for the Dolphins. The ball comes back obligingly to Adam Douglas. He had it knocked out of his grasp by Atkinson. Here's Heath Mead. He doesn't miss too many of these, but that one bent when he didn't want it to. But he has started in electrifying form this season, Heath Mead. Former Dandenong Redleg, as are a number of the Frankston players. Interchange bench for Box Hill, getting an early run. Dean Grace and Jason Ibrahim.
Well, Grace is on the ground,
Actually,
but
yes.
yes.
Is it Eddie? Travis Eddie on the bench? I think so. Different to
Jason
Gibbon.
Ibrahim. Spoiled at the back by Clark. Quick work, Andrew Pickering to Taylor to Mullane, feeds it off. And easy goal. That's 5. Yes, Justin Pickering with a hand pass, but Andrew just before that. So the Pickering's involved, and that was a pretty easy goal, Philip.
Well, yes, very, very easy. Roscoe, they're playing with a great deal of purpose, Frankston. Plenty of talent in the side. Justin Pickering there, easy as you like. See the kick in. Punched there by Taylor. That's good play by Taylor to punch the ball back into play. Doesn't find his man Stubbs, but it's intercepted by Mullane. Puts it over to Pickering, and home she goes. Good goal.
Real danger signs for Box Hill here. That's in the back. Free kick to Brendan Moore. VFA representative player goes right down the middle. Why not? The key forwards in fine form. Good spoiling from McBean. Oh, no confidence at all. Jared O'Neill went straight through his grasp. Zach Badrock handballs to Greg. They need these players doing well. Reece Jones knocks it down. Knows that he's got a teammate there in Ryan, and he got pushed in the back. They're throwing themselves in Box Hill, but a little haphazard. Stephen Ryan. Thumping it long. George, a brilliant grab. He's an exciting prospect, this youngster, David George. He hoisted high. Stubbs getting away from his man in Adam Slater.
Yes, they're just too mobile. Look at that mark from George. That is a brilliant piece of work.
So he's a youngster. He's 22 in
Yes.
David George.
Well, these days, Peter, you know, they get drafted at all sorts of ages, and he's got to be a player with real potential to be picked up at some point.
Again, the left footer on the wrong side to conventionally kick at goal. He hasn't managed to banana this one through. Yes, he has. Keep leading into that pocket. That's 3 goals from Richard Stubbs in the first 15 minutes.
Well, I tell you what, it's interesting. You're playing a better side, and as a forward, it becomes a bit easier, doesn't it? Saw the Stubbs boys at Oakley. They were good players, but gee, here today, don't they look dangerous with this ball being whizzed around quickly into the forward line. There you see Ryan bangs it up, and George, what a mark. Wasn't a great kick from George, but he found his man, Richard Stubbs, drifting across, Ross.
Yes, spent time at the Red Leagues, played in the final, I think, first semi-final. Mullane towards
That's a mark.
Stubbs. Well, was it, Pete?
Oh, I'd like to see that one
George.
again.
Out to Goodale. Pressure off for the moment. Burnell, good spoil on Dow. Quick hands from Andrew Pickering to Burnell. There's a smother. Bowie at front. Andrew Pickering. Chased from the back by Livingston. Up towards Stubbs. Oh, and he was coming like a train, but McBean chipped in.
Courageous. Oh, that kicking style, particular.
Cohen, that's a mark for him. Oh, come on. Bruce Cohen was there.
I would have paid that. And I was only 150 metres away. But I have good eyesight, Roscoe, as you well know. Most umpires appreciate that I rarely get it wrong.
Indeed.
Andrew Giles will appreciate that comment from you, Phil, as he throws it up. And Bowie can get it away. He goes in after it again. Glorious conditions for football watching and playing. After such an atrocious week, who would have thought we'd be bathed in sunshine today? I didn't think we'd ever see the sun again.
And Philip, the Coburg Port game's at Port Melbourne.
Yes, being
And
transferred.
Springvale playing North Ballarat tonight.
Yes.
Box Hill moving forward.
Rhys Jones, just getting away from McNamara there. Yes, McNamara had every right to think the ball would come more directly to him. Ian Atkinson. He must be really enjoying his football at the moment. Like his career might have ended there a few years ago. Oh, the ball just bounces off Jared O'Neill. That was Pickering that shot the initial handball out. He's already had about 4 handballs, Andrew Pickering. There's a ball spooned off from Ashley Charles. Couldn't go forward with it. Frankston throwing on the 50-metre semicircle. They're trying hard, the Box Hill defence, but they're having too much work to do at the moment. Yes, scratching their head time. What can we do here to get the momentum our way? Knock back from Lee Taylor. Knock on from Mullane. Couldn't take it with him, Justin Pickering. Here's Heath Goodale. Fine hands. Pickering's really playing well at the moment. This is Andrew. Beautifully squared. Charles hands it off to Ryan. George, rather, wants it back again. Oh, the pass to Lee Taylor. Well, he can equal Richard Stubbs and kick his 3rd.
Very easy, isn't it, on that forward line for the Talls. Taylor and Stubbs having a picnic down there. The ball delivered neatly by Ryan.
40 metres out.
And kicking beautifully.
No breeze to worry them today. And, well, directly in front on the boundary line, they're all going through the middle, it would appear, for the Dolphins. 44-8 after just 19 minutes.
Well, 6 goals kicked from Stubbs and Taylor between them. I mean, and here you see Stephen Ryan, plenty of time to go into his right foot, puts the ball out. Taylor able to lead at the 45, about 40 metres out. Goal. Really struggling in defence and up forward, Box Hill across the half-forward line, getting nothing.
So Frankston looking really powerful. Out by Payne. Back towards McNamara. Rhys Jones is spoiled. Stephen Ryan looking so confident to Des Ryan, the captain. Kick not so good, but found Mullane. Did he mark that? No. Umpire said yes. Brendan Moore. Long kick. Where's Stubbs? Dennis. That was a good spoil by the Box Hill defender. Now cleared away. Justin Pickering.
Play there, but I think McBean, the only player he could find was Pickering, and he did exactly that.
So Ibrahim waiting to come on for Box Hill. Heath Mead almost fell to him. Greg. Oh, O'Neill, they come at him from everywhere. He's found a man in Griffin.
Get off, Griffin, move back, move back, move back.
George on the mark. Griffin goes towards McNamara. He's slipped away from his marker here. Rhys Jones making sure he doesn't play on. But good, a confident attack at the ball there from McNamara, but he's on centre wing. Oh, look at this kick, though. Outnumbered 2-1 there, Box Hill. Zach Badrock throws himself in and makes sure it stays in the forward line.
Gee, they're at 6 and 7s when they try to get across that half-forward line, Box Hill. Absolutely nothing happening.
Clark just too tall for Badrock. He's very tall. Livingston got a high one. 200 centimetres. That is pretty tall. Lane and the two number ones, Mullane and Livingston. Badrock is short for ruckman, then we must say that. Grace. Clark, quick hands. Burnell getting a lot of possessions. Bouncing ball to Andrew Pickering. Tackle not so effective. Justin Pickering goes in.
Should have been holding the ball.
Payne with a hand pass. Over by Cowan to Grace.
Go for home.
On the left foot inside 50.
Got to kick those.
Should have kicked that,
You've
Phil.
got to kick them, Ross. When you're under pressure, you need the goal. The coach knows you need the goal. He'd be very disappointed, Johnny Murphy. That one should have been sealed.
Well, he's missed 2 sitters so far. Dean Grace. Des Ryan making great distance with those kick-ins. Comes down to brother Stephen. Bouncing it into the mud. It's all right. Taylor. A bit too close was George there to handle it. Comes out to Jared O'Neill. A lot of mud adhering to the ball. But Grace has got space. He's spotted a teammate. Oh, chipping in Pickering. And he's got the free kick.
Well, Grace has got to work out his game a bit, Peter. He's really not using the ball appropriately there. They had 2 players. They could have run in and drawn a player and sealed a goal, and they went sideways. Box Hill.
And Scott Dwayne, 180 centimetres, who's never going to be in an advantage there in a marking duel. As Pickering kicks it towards the ruckman Charles. And there's an in-the-back decision going Box Hill's way. Cohen gets up.
Do you think the minister wrote Scott Dwayne Scott's name round the right way when he was christened?
There's Charles flying for Frankston. He knocks the ball across to a teammate. Atkinson trying to paddle it out only as far as McNamara. Did well to control that ball there. Was Payne. Leaves it behind Dower. They've got no confidence at all at the moment.
You've got to take the ball with you, Peter.
Charles has kicked to the wing, straight to Griffin. Has he found somebody? It's Greg. To the edge of the square. Frankston back in numbers, and Reece Jones knocks it over for a behind.
See, the choices they're picking are not good percentage choices. Even then, the ball kicked high. Reece Jones with plenty of time to smother the ball. A couple of players were in shorter on their own. And these kickouts are really worrying Box Hill too. Doing it very well, Des Ryan.
Looks for Bowie. It's come unstuck through the hands of Dwyer. Bowie fought on well. Very determined, the Dolphins. In front, Lee Taylor having a great quarter. 3 goals in the centre square. Thumps it really looking for one of 2 stubs. Both Dennis and Richard got a hand on it. Good ale. Heads for the boundary line in front of the Box Hill Rooms. The City Oval.
Box Hill have launched Junior Supporters Club, the Mini Mustangs. Been launched today, just $5. Gains membership for any Box Hill boy and girl under the age of 14 years for the whole season. And Jordan and Zach Lyle, sons of Mark, former Box Hill stalwart, were some of the mascots that led the team out today. So, well, all the people out here in the eastern suburbs, Box Hill needs some support now. Get behind them, especially the youngsters. Here's McNamara for the Mustangs. Just hoisting it high. Wanting a mark from Dower. There's 2-1 again, and Des Ryan takes it away. That's confidence for you. Kick again. Travels past everybody. Taylor bundles the ball out to George. Knocked through for behind. It's a 31-point lead for Frankston. We are into time on now.
Phil, not a good sign for Box Hill because Frankston have been sort of with their opposition in the first halves of their previous 2 games, North Ballarat and Traralgon, but then absolutely thrashed them in the second half. Let's hope for Box Hill's sake it's not repeated today.
George looking to man up on somebody. back for the ball behind him there, Ryan. Here's Andrew Pickering again. Takes 3 of them to beat him. He's been on the bottom of every pack so far around that half-forward line. Set out some telling handballs. Oh, it's going to be Richard Stubbs to ruck against Badrock. Wins it 2. Lee Taylor breaks through too easily. 2 on 2 here. Who was that leaping? It's rushed through for a behind by Pat Dwyer. It was Dennis Stubbs launching himself there from behind. But, Phil, they're just toying position at the moment. 36 points is the difference. Here's Dennis Stubbs.
Oh, yes, just a fraction off line there. Fraction early, but the ball not quite carrying into the hands. You see here, Box Hill uncertain about which way to try to manoeuvre that ball into attack. Out, no run from behind the lines.
Greg to O'Neill.
Oh, just too easy.
Richard Stubbs looking very confident. Spoil on Taylor. Andrew Pickering threads it through the pack. Couldn't find Lee Taylor. 2 minutes into time on. A 7-goal quarter so far to the Dolphins with a very slight breeze. Still time for more. Badrock hanging on. Payne. Oh, Reece Jones, eyes on the ball all the way. Never any doubt. Doesn't seem to have suffered from that collision with Badrock. Courage shown by McNamara, and he's going to be awarded a free kick. Pushing back into the pack.
He's been shifted down the back half, centre half back. Now McNamara. And there is a holding the ball prior opportunity. And I tell you what, umpire, there were a couple of others that could have been paid up the other end of the ground too that weren't paid.
The question is, did he have a prior opportunity?
No, well, that's the point. That's the rule. He paid, Ross. What I'm saying is there are opportunities prior to this that were worse than that and weren't paid. And this is where they get themselves into trouble, umpires, when they're not perfectly consistent. It becomes
George, he's hooked that one a long way. He's got a round the corner kicking style, and that one went too far. So Michael Bozzo, the umpire that adjudicated there. It doesn't hurt Box Hill. So here it is. Griffin.
Yes.
It's holding the ball under the new rule, but there should have been 1 or 2 paid up on the other line for Box Hill, and they weren't paid.
Well, the ball was never held to him. I think that was the problem. It just spilled out straight away. Play on was the call. No, don't agree with us.
No, that's not different.
I think it was the holding the ball.
Now, Mead.
Played. Beautiful football, Heath Mead.
Justin Pickering.
That is superb.
One
football.
step and goal. Second goal of the quarter to Justin Pickering.
I tell you, sorry, Ross, he is an exciting little player, Heathmead, isn't he? You know, we saw him a couple of years ago produce some dazzling performances, and last year at times, and always promised so much, but the way then he got around and put that pass in to Pickering, didn't have to move and finished it off.
Just for the benefit of our viewers, who some may not be aware that this rule, it doesn't have to be held. If it's not cleared, it's still a free kick against the person who did have the ball. So Mullane clears it from the middle. McBean spoiling. Bowie. Not a mark. Didn't travel 10 metres. McBean caught. Did he have an opportunity?
Well, I mean, that's where I think the rule is rubbish. I mean, the ball's knocked out in the tackle. I don't see that you should be rewarded for that. I mean, you're tackling a bloke who hasn't got the ball.
Well, he had the previous, he did have a prior opportunity, Griffin, to get rid of the ball, and then he's penalised under the new rule.
Well, that makes bad reading if you're a Box Hill supporter. 44 points in front are Frankston at quarter time. They've had 10 goal kickers the past 2 matches. Today, just 3 goal kickers have done the damage. We seem to have a bit of a problem there in terms of the Box Hill goal kickers, because Scott Dwayne has kicked 1. Cameron Crowley not playing today, so we'll just rectify that. But no problems on the other side. Richard Stubbs with 3, Lee Taylor with 3, Justin Pickering kicking a couple. It's a huge deficit for Box Hill to make up here at home. And I just wonder what they can possibly do to reverse the trend of this match with Frankston in front in a commanding position at quarter time. 44 points is the lead.
Time now to test the memory. North Ballarat and Box Hill played in our very first broadcast match of the new VFL. Who won that game? If you think North Ballarat won, phone 0055 60501. If you think Box Hill won the match, call 0055 60502. So just repeating those numbers for North Ballarat, 0055 60501. And for Box Hill, call 0055 60502. The winner will receive a copy of the Grandstand footy book, an ABC Sports cap and a VFL footy jumper from the team of their choice. Time now to cross back to Peter G, who's not eligible for the competition. Peter.
Yes, I think I might go for the Frankston jumper if I was. Beverly, it's looked fantastic today, Phil, and they're playing up to it as well. Box Hill in their traditional strip. And, well, counting practice matches, they've lost 7 in a row facing Frankston today. What can John Murphy conjure up here?
Right, let's get some blokes running from behind. Let's blokes on the forward line, right in the middle of the ground. Start running across. Movement. Give the ball carrier, the bloke with the ball, a chance to kick it out in front of you so you can run onto it. At the moment, we're just bombing the ball in the air and hoping someone's going to take a mark. Well, it's not going to happen that way. Come on. It's not going to happen that way unless you're prepared to run hard and let the bloke with the ball kick it out in front of you. For God's sake, let's start. Let's start working as a unit as though you really want to be out here. Come on.
Yes, they've really got to show some pride in their performance here, Box Hill, because they're going to hardly feature in these first quarter highlights, and it started very badly for young Scott Dwayne.
Yes, well, an error there, Peter, as I called it. Using his right hand and didn't get the leverage required, and Lee Taylor was on it in a flash out of the goal, and then the Richard Stubbs boy got into the act as well. Yes, and he wasn't laughing either. He was laughing. He was having so much fun. Back kicked that first one into attack the Mustangs, and Scott Dwayne with a chance, of course, making up for that first error, and just finished it. Had their opportunities, Box Hill, but this forward line of Frankston's was absolutely lethal. Stubbs again. Taylor got 3 and Stubbs got 3. 6 of the 8 goals coming from the 2 key forwards, the 2 big blokes. Mullane playing on Livingston, had the better of Livingston. Livingston struggling to get into the game. And then we see Lee Taylor finishing off, and that was what finishing off by Frankston. Although they've kicked 6 points, the finishing off was still very good. And that one, of course, wasn't so good. But Mullane there spots Pickering, and Pickering, easy as you like. This is a good side, Frankston. More kicks, more marks, more handballs, and that is why, with head-outs, they are well and truly on top in this game at Box Hill.
Ross Booth.
No injuries at Frankston, even if David Rees-Jones was a bit sore, he wouldn't say, would he? Before you got to John Murphy, he said that he was going to drag senior players who were not being responsible in picking up players as if he had enough, so they weren't setting the example for the younger players. A pretty tough John Murphy.
Well, it's getting to that sort of stage, isn't it? I mean, everyone thought pre-season Box Hill are going to be back to the form that got them to the grand final in 1994, where they... well, just fell in the final stages and taking that first division premiership. It hasn't been the case. What can they do here? Kicking to the Whitehorse Road end. It's come unstuck here, Brendan Moore.
Not finding their players.
Lee Taylor's head. The kick won't make it to him. Sean Mullane hasn't got it against Pat Dwyer.
Hung on to for too long after the ball was dislodged.
He's gone high, looking there for Stubbs. Griffin's kick forward, well marked by Zach Badrock. Resting on his shoulders, but he's put his teammate under all sorts of pressure. Maybe he shouldn't have even called for the ball there, Shane Allsop, but he got the free kick luckily. Now Dwyer. He's looking for Livingston there with that pass, but chipping in is Rees-Jones. He's found his man. As usual, he doesn't waste the possession. Now it's Lee Taylor. Heath Mead. Moving it quickly, dropping down into the pocket. He's already kicked 3. No closer to goal, Richard Stubbs. And again, he's on the wrong side for a left footer, but it didn't worry him down the other end. Oh, no, in fact, he's on the right side this time, isn't he? Yes.
And that's almost, I tell you what, if that's not 50 metres, I don't understand the rule. Now, that player...
It is, Philip.
Yes, he did pay it. Good decision, umpire. Very slow to call it, though, I'd have thought. But,
there's no histrionics, Phil. Just...
Well, he didn't...
Well, that one's out in the garden somewhere behind the goal. So if you live at that northern end of the City Oval, you might have a brand new Sharon in your backyard. Thanks to that torpedo from Richard Stubbs, he's kicked 4 goals.
Look, this is a very disappointing play. How can you give players such as Stubbs this kind of space? He's now kicked 4 goals on Slater. He is having an absolute picnic, as is Lee Taylor. As are most of the forwards, the ball just coming out of the back half of Box Hill far too easily. And we must accept it's a bit hard for backmen when the ball is driven with that sort of ease and a lack of pressure.
Well, Mead got it moving quickly.
Yes, he did. Well, he's always looking, Peter. That was good. He just gave the ball enough elevation. Very lethal side, Frankston.
Tim Livingston, just 1 possession, Paul Field points out.
Yes, Mullane had the better of him well and truly, Roscoe.
Dwyer to take it with him, 55. Burnell off the carpet. Charles will be first there. Just takes it over the line.
I think you should go and check those stats as we look at Ibrahim about to come on for Box Hill with Tim's father, John, who keeps all the stats for Tim. For every game I think he's ever played. He says, I always get more than Paul Field. So #1 for Box Hill.
Well, we do distract Paul from time to time with various requests. Bad rock. Finds Scott Dwayne's the only goal kicker. Now steady. This is a kick of all. He goes short instead.
Kick.
Dower with a mark.
Should have eaten it.
Philly said kick. There's Charles on the mark. Dower will have the shot at goal. Almost apologising. Off comes Slater. On comes Ibrahim, but short on for a tall. And Ibrahim going into the forward pocket.
And the viewers can work that one out.
Dow kicks the second goal for the Mustangs. The first one came at the 7-minute mark of the first quarter, and this one at the 4-minute mark.
Well, they're down on their, certainly down on their talent today, Box Hill. There's no question about that. It makes it very hard for Coach John Murphy when you don't have the key players. You can't really take the game up to the opposition in fashion you'd like to, and you're very much dependent on some mid-range players. And even then, Dower dropping a ball that he should have held comprehensively.
Still
they need
paid
goals.
By umpire Vozzo, and David Rees-Jones had a word to him about that one. There's Tim Livingston with his second kick. Oh, David Rees-Jones has been given a free kick here, so all is forgiven.
Jared O'Neill, of course, got the job on Rees-Jones now that McNamara has gone up to the back line.
Stephen Ryan kicks the ball out to Des. He knocks it down cleverly for Moore. Oh, good spinning football there from Payne, but unable to get clear to too many persistent Dolphins around him. Burnell, long roost. Stubbs gets rid of his man and will shoot for #5. Just with the forearm, holding out Adam Douglas, and he'll shoot at goal from 10 metres.
Yes, too big and strong for Douglas on that occasion, Peter. Douglas having no chance whatsoever to outposition Stubbs, who is very impressive.
He's got... Well, that's not a bad haul. In a quarter and 6 minutes of football, he's kicked 5.
He's only a 23-year-old, Peter, and, you know, it's interesting to see how he's matured over the past 3 seasons. Ross, I think you'd agree, isn't he a much more competent player than...
been at Carlton.
Yes. It's very, very interesting, though. You know, I'm thinking in terms of age, the chronology of it. Like, we must realise, you look at him here, that players between 20 and 22 really can improve. And it's most important that kids at under age don't think they can't play if they dip out when they're 18. You've always got a second chance.
That's right. Have another go in the VFL. The new VFL. Out by Dwyer. Can they get their third? Jared O'Neill shrugs a tackle. The hand pass to Grace wasn't so good. O'Neill went to follow it up, then laid a good tackle on Reece Jones. No prior opportunity then. So the umpire will...
God, he's sickeningly well behaved, Reece Jones, isn't he? What's happened to him, Ross?
Captain coach.
Oh, that's right, is it?
Premiership last year, Phil, with North Launceston.
Yes, Peter.
You know, all success, really, at the moment for Reece Jones. There's Charles getting another tap. Down there to Stephen Ryan. Lee Taylor. They're streaming past left, right and centre. It's the man that kicked it to him. Stephen Ryan got through the bog and then drove it long. Good spoil there from Douglas on Stubbs. Heath Mead looked for somebody. Now chips it to Bowie. Good recovery. Look at that man calling for it, Pickering. Around Ibrahim, not around Griffin, but he's got the support from Bowie. I think he's hooked it. Box Hill having trouble gaining possession of the footy at the moment.
Being completely outclassed, and really they've got to find something. A lot of players down, a lot of players not having a fair income red-hot go.
Yes, that was John Murphy's complaint at quarter time. Can't expect to win. Bit of a push.
Just on the big Zach and Slater. Of course, I see Ross must have got the shift for Douglas. Slater, who was in the back line,
yes,
picking up Stubbs, gone right off the ground.
He was that tall that went off.
Yes, well, I really couldn't follow you when you said mixed up the talls and the smalls. I should have listened a bit more carefully. Coded.
Yes. O'Neill. Long high kick. Burnell there. Bowie. Pulled off the ball by Dean Gregg.
You see, even Jared O'Neill's got the job now. He's gone to centre-half forward on Reece Jones. That should be a real challenge for you, you know, to really get that forward line going. And mobility's really, you've got to take the mobility up to someone like Reece Jones. But they're not working their game enough, the Box Hill players. Very disappointing.
Charles just winning, it seems, Clark, rather, at will in the ruck. Oh, well picked up by Dwyer. Yes, goal from Murley, the rover. Bit of persistence there from Box Hill. And Grace it was that shot the handball out. So Stuart Murley gets only the third goal of the day for the Mustangs.
Yes, Murley, of course, roving today. And, gee, a bit of comedy of errors, but the ball gets swooped back. And there you see Murley finish it off. A handball came through from Travis Eddy, I think, wasn't it, Peter? Number 35? Grace, sorry.
35, Eddie?
Dean Grace, wasn't it?
Eddie,
Grace, was it?
Oh, was it Eddie?
I think you're right, Phil. Yeah, Eddie.
1-1, Phil.
Good.
15-all. Lee Taylor.
We'll see who gets to
Bit muddy.
advantage first.
Shall we play a tide break? Or suicide tide break, whatever they're called. Well, no confidence. Double-fisted spoil. Could have marked. Griffin, clearing kick, intercepted by Stephen Ryan. High ball. Stubbs came late. And that looks like Douglas, who might win a free kick. First in for the ball.
He'll have his hands full with Stubbs, Douglas.
I tell you, I reckon he'll be the man that will slow down Stubbs, Phil.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good call in, Peter. I just think if the ball keeps in the air, he's going to have big problems. But still, he's a goer.
McNamara, good mark.
He's got a lift, Johnny McNamara.
Oh, this could come unstuck. Pickering lurking here. Ibrahim. Well, he's hit when he didn't have it, Pickering. Against Payne.
Oh, look at that.
Justin Pickering over the top to Bowie. He's about 40 metres out from goal, Brett Bowie. And the VFA representative player. He'll be hoping that he's included in the VFL team that will play against the Tasmanian Football League at the MCG. It's the 1st of June, I think, isn't it? Early in June. John Murphy, congratulations to the Box Hill coach. He's again coaching the representative side.
A question for
Bowie's threaded it.
Good goal.
So that's 3 goals in the quarter.
I've a question for you, Peter. You are a Tasmanian, and Tasmania wants to be included in the National AFL League. if the VFL beats Tasmania.
Oh, look at this, Phil. McNamara's down Bowers. We look back at the replay. No, Mallet has evolved here. I don't know what
Just a
McNamara
push, was it?
Well, I don't know why he did it.
Just wondering whether the VFL would be admitted. There's Johnny McNamara.
It began with the when McNamara threw his hand back on the mark against Mullane, I think, and that's just a carryover from that about a minute ago. McNamara swung his arm around and was lucky not to be penalised with a 50-metre penalty.
Umpire Corin Rowe was right there.
Zach, that was always going to be a freak. You see Zach Badrock jumping early as he always does.
Struggling, Phil, isn't he?
Yes, it's too hard for him.
Last year, best and fairest, he had to do it all. The leaper was Dennis Stubbs. He'll pull one down before long. Here's Griffin for Box Hill. They've got to go cross goal again. Well done, Douglas. Lee Taylor makes him throw it, I think. Oh, clash of heads there. Andrew Pickering went down, comes out to Lee Medane. Douglas gets a free kick.
You know, I just can't work out.
Good player, this bloke, Phil.
Yes. We'll see, Peter. He probably is, but gee, at full-back or in the last line against Stubbs, it's a tall order, I reckon. But we'll see how it unfolds.
Douglas, well, too tall as Clark. Daniel Clark. Inside 50. Stubbs caught at the back. Couldn't get a run at the ball. Wasting no time is Travis Eddy. Look, they do look similarly. 35 and 36. Oh, there's a high one on Dwayne. Scott Dwayne. And well, you can hear Peter G's comment. I won't say anything. Scott Dwayne looks for a man up in attacking Dower. David Taylor has been a bit quiet. Gives it to Charles. Switches play out towards Reece Jones.
Use of the body there by Reece Jones.
Goodale comes in quickly. Should centre it. Well, tried to. Did he try to? It looked as if he were trying.
And this is interesting. Zach Badrock going off. I don't know, he's hurt the hip. Or Slater will have to go in the ruck. I was just going to say before, I would like to see Slater as he comes on, number 20, to actually take the centre bounces. See whether he can contest. He's got the height, but Zach Badrock limping off. He did that by jumping early at the centre bounce against Clark, as he often does, because he doesn't have the height. Met his father before the game, Big Zach. Big Zach's father, and he said he was in good nick. There you go.
The 19-year-old Ashley Charles having a bit of a gallop on a Saturday afternoon, and beautiful kick finds Lee Taylor. Having to come down the ground a fair bit in this quarter. Now Atkinson has looked for the leading goal kicker at the moment, but he's out positioned by two. McBean helping out Douglas there. Can he find a teammate? Yes. This is Shane Alsop. Oh dear. Has he played on? No, he was just looking for the ball. Slater doesn't get there. Douglas has drifted down from full back. He wants the ball back. No, they spin it out to the boundary line. Met it well there, Payne. O'Neill is his target. Had it, but then the eyes dropped a little bit and it spilled off to Mullane. Now he's found a man. Stephen Ryan. Oh, it's got to come back.
Why didn't the umpire just let advantage go there if it was a free kick and O'Neill's played on? Why not advantage? Why must the ball come back? Ross, you are an expert.
Blood rules being sent off.
Right.
And,
but was that the original call by the umpire?
Yes, I think he'd stopped. He indicated the play. He crossed his arms.
Fair point. I should say, point taken, umpire.
So Dwyer off for blood. Pickering. Another blood rule going off. Yes, Andrew Pickering being sent off. Blood on the right ear. So,
Phil, what was that question you asked about 5 minutes ago about Tasmania?
If the VFL beats Tasmania, can it be included in the National League?
Saliva. Off goes Pickering. Saliva on.
You've been thinking about that all that time. Well, it was so stupid a question.
I couldn't remember what it was. It made such an impact initially. Stubbs goes back after it. Clever play. Gets it to Pickering. Mullane, no, just have a shot. He should have fed it out.
That man, Richard Stubbs, was sliding by laterally. He wasn't on the end of it.
I think Sean Mullane probably realised that he was on his wrong foot.
Yes, good thinking.
Oh, Ross, you are generous.
Adam Douglas. All height here is with Clark. Slater couldn't get in the contest, Phil, or didn't try hard enough.
Did not try hard enough. Simple as that, Roscoe.
Richard Stubbs coming with a run. Almost took it on his belly. He was up that high. Off the ground, McNamara. Loose one for Atkinson. Quick hands.
Well done.
Good balking by Brendan Moore.
Good at it. Oh,
Richard Stubbs again, but in front.
Good play.
Here's Douglas.
This 20-year-old doing Box Hill proud in the back half. He's held them up, Frankston, on the last few movements forward. Good Ailes kick. Burnell, very poor handball to Saliba, but with determination he gets it back. The interchange player gets it to the captain coach, David Rees-Jones. He slides back in, Rees, and holds it up.
He's a percentage player, Rees-Jones, in the way he just unsettled the Box Hill player there with the bump that didn't enable him to get the ball away. Just got the body in nicely.
Looks as fit as a Mallee bull, Philip, too.
Yes.
34-year-old.
He's dragging through the gates at Frankston too. They had good crowds. Good as kick forward will be brought back.
Yeah, big Zach Badrock has gone straight up the race. I'd say he's hurt the hip or the back. He did jump early and threw something. I don't think it was a knee or anything. Or the kind, a serious kind.
Heath Goodale gets behind his mark after the umpire's instructions and goes very wide with a kick. Indirect. The target is Dower. He's up there through his hands though. O'Neill down there. Oh, sharked by Murley, who kicks his second, both in this quarter. So Box Hill now have 4 goals on the board. And for the last 5 or 10 minutes, perhaps Phil, they've stemmed the tide a bit.
Well, the work is very hard, as I mentioned earlier, Ross, for Johnny Murphy to get the balance right. You know, now with Badrock off the ground, it's made it harder again. There's nothing particularly scientific about the way Box Hill are performing at the present time. But Murley there has finished off with a goal. Kept them in the game. But only just. Slater at the centre bounce. Good. Probably the first one has been won against Clark.
Ball comes out to Allsop. David Rees-Jones just goes straight at it.
Too easy.
Barrels 50 metres. McBean did well to spoil Stubbs there, but here's Bowie. Easy passage to goal. And the full forward gets his 6th. Richard Stubbs, 3 in each quarter. His man had to come out there to try and front Bowie, and easy to flip it over the top.
Yes, and it started with Rees-Jones. And I know, Rees, you won't mind me saying that was a bit easy for you as an old-timer getting out of the back lines. Eyes right on the ball, but really, Box Hill players have got to work harder in the back, in the forward line to stop the ball coming out. Bowie, they're very smart. Onto it, over to Stubbs. Very, very good. Good play.
He didn't put that one over the fence. Fortunately, play allowed to go on.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And it's chopping it off as Ibrahim, who didn't hold it. Bowie, quickly. David George running into the open goal. And another one. Now the lead's ballooned out to 57 points very quickly. And David George kicks his first. He's had 2 misses in that first quarter.
To your left, Jolsey, to your left.
Just nothing going right for Box Hill, but they're not making anything go right. Bowie again set up the last one and inward. Good handball, and George, by George, he can play, Roscoe.
Phil, what do you do? Confidence is at rock bottom. There's Box Hill players. Ibrahim there went to the ball, got it, and it just came straight out of his hands. I mean, you know, they're getting there, and then they just don't seem to have that belief in themselves.
No, that's exactly right. You've got players like Livingston who are drivers out of the game, and Mullane's sort of taken the accolades there, hasn't he? Taken the head off Livingston. It's really about percentages. Tackling and doing the hard things, I always thought as a coach, is what gets you going again.
What do you think about the Frankston move? Richard Stubbs up into the ruck now as Livingston shoots the handball out to Goodale, ricochets to Jared O'Neill. Attacking the ball well. I think it might have been Eddie. Oh, here's Eddie. He's got a free kick.
Phil, in that centre square, Box Hill had Slater, Payne and Allsop, and Livingston being tagged by Mullane. There's just no drive in there.
No.
They get their better players in there.
Their midfield is a real problem. You know, you look at you haven't got Burke playing. You haven't got Crowley, who's very elusive across the forward line. You haven't got Banfield in the back half to really give a bit of solidity to that lineup. Got a few young players, Johnny Murphy, that he's trying to develop, and there he is, the coach. It's a tough ask just at the present time. I think you could sense it when he spoke to you before the game, Peter G, that he wasn't feeling all that confident.
Travis Eddy going for his first goal. Second game today for Box Hill for the 19-year-old. He's got it. So much better quarter from them. They've kicked 4 goals in this quarter. They've kicked as many goals today as they did the whole of last week. And who was that got the ball forward? Shaven Head. But Eddie finished it off. It was, I think, Grace that got the ball forward.
Yes. So Grace, Payne, Slater, all inexperienced, Phil, in that square for Box Hill. But Slater won the tap down. There's Payne. Couldn't quite get a clean grab on it. Whereas, let's check the 4 Dolphins in that centre square. Bowie, Pickering, well, there's no more than 4 now because it's a second bounce. Slater again, though. He's doing well in the ruck, Phil. Won it again. Atkinson was first to the ball.
Well, I talked to you about that in a second, Roscoe.
Dower with Burnell. Brett Bowie having a good game. Good effective hand pass to Stephen Ryan. Always seems to find a man.
Doing well out of the back line, Ryan.
Justin Pickering, nice little centre towards Dennis. Stubbs, one hand. Just his flight was interrupted. Bowie got the hands up, got away from the tackle. Good. David George chipping it towards Saliba. He prefers the left foot. Over the top. Clark found Mead, who's been quiet. Saliba ridden to the ground, and it's cleared by Goodale.
Clark, direct swap with Richard Stubbs. And Ruckin full forward is interesting. As Moore gets the ball over the top to Atkinson. Where'd that voice come from? It was Brendan Moore. Skims it low. Clark couldn't take it with him. Oh, that is Stubbs.
Oh, advantage, go.
Yes. Box Hill. Nice kick. Dwayne squares it. There's 2 players here. They spoil one another. Grace and O'Neill. Reece Jones there had O'Neill by the leg. It comes out to Charles, and Box Hill wastes an opportunity.
Terrible, Peter.
Here's Greg.
I'll tell you, let's be frank about it. O'Neill there with Reece Jones, and O'Neill didn't go hard enough at the football. And it's no point if you're worrying about Reece Jones like that. You won't get yourself a kick. You've got to really take it up.
I don't think he's worried about Reece Jones, Phil. He's worried
his
about
form is so... Well,
and his fitness too.
Yeah, well, all right.
Very proppy. Well, no, he doesn't look like he is proppy, but he's, I think, worried still about the knee.
But there's a couple of them there that are not really taking it up to Reece Jones, and on physical. The time Reece Jones went through that back line, Peter, far too easy.
Stephen Ryan takes the kick. Saliba with the sleeves. Chasing it, George. Pulled off it. Was Griffin called in possession, was he? No, not in possession. I missed the first word. David Griffin. McNamara fiddling about with it. Goodale. Oh, he's caught by George. Lucky not to be penalised. Taylor takes the crumbs into the goal square. Kept in by Allsop, it might have been. Out towards Douglas. Good footwork by Richard Stubbs. Mead's been quiet, and he found Daniel Clark. Philip, is it Payne that's been watching him for years? Whoever it is has done a very good job.
Allsop had him earlier, Roscoe.
Oh,
whether that's been changed, I think it may have been, but I did notice Allsop had him early in the game. I think he still has.
Done a very good job.
Yeah, he's been like the
Daniel Clark.
Blue,
Phil
yes,
thinks of a word to describe that.
I was going to say a tiger, and then I thought, well, not quite a tiger at it. I was thinking of that dog. What is it?
Terrier.
Terrier.
Oh,
I'm not thinking about dogs.
Why don't you ring up 3LO on a Saturday morning and speak to Hugh Worth? Put you straight on your breeds.
Yeah, just the sort of bloke I would get on well with.
52 points, the difference in favour of Frankston.
I think John Carger, Singers of Renown's more your type, Phil.
There's Charles trying to knock the ball back. No, it was Pickering, sorry. Well, here it is with Eddie. A lot of work to do for Dwayne to get to this ball. A little bit indirect, Box Hill, crisscrossing the ground. Atkinson always has a good look upfield before he kicks. George handballing it to Burnell. Clark leaning on his man. Douglas retards him somehow. And that's Allsop knocking it over the boundary line.
You know, it's interesting play by the coach and his chairman of selectors, who is Neil Kavanagh, I think it is, to...
That's not him we just saw.
No, he's off the field. I'll get to that in a second.
Well, that was aerial ping pong.
Just say, to move Stubbs up into the ruck and Clark down, just to the point where Douglas was just holding Stubbs a little, just to move the game around a bit. And you see Clark goes down. He starts to look dangerous against Stubbs, against Douglas. The height.
Well, a lot of players around the ball, 20 metres out from goal, but George puts it on his boot for his second. David George in the right spot at the right time.
Oh, there's plenty of class in this side, isn't there? Now, Peter, just going back to what we're saying about Reece Jones and the forward line of Box Hill, you know, you really got to get physical up on that line in particular, I reckon, in modern football. And you see George there. I mean, he's got a lot of skill, but gee, it's easy, isn't it?
Slater
the goals
won
are
the
just
tap.
And straight to him, but he just steps through, and they've been able to step through. And Reece Jones had picked that also. He knows as coach that they're not really being fully tested at the present time.
Stubbs got the tap there. This is Eddie. Had a bit of the ball. Ooh. Payne got it down to Goodale. Shot out by Dwayne. Stephen Ryan. Will come back again. Greg. Oh, but there's black, white and red coming at him from everywhere. Pickering to Bowie. Calling for it is Stubbs. Taylor talking to him. Bowie shepherding for him. Tremendous team football from Frankston. The squaring kick. Clark is the target. Good spoil, Douglas. Here's Griffin for Box Hill. And Douglas goes away. No, it's not. It's Dower who's been thrown into the back half now. Well, I don't think there's a single player out there who's playing in his original position. Dower. Down the spine they go. McBean looks more certainly a forward than a backman, and that's where he is now. He's replaced Dower. They've done a swap. The ball knocked away. Burnell squares it to Atkinson. He's getting a lot of the ball off half-back now. That's a very muddy Brendan Moore.
And he's a good kick, Moore. But on this occasion...
chopped off. Slater.
Oh, dear.
Griffin's handball misses Ibrahim. Coming down at him is Heathmead. He's found Greg, though. Can he get the handball away on the practice wicket area? I think he's happy just to make sure it doesn't go Frankston's way. We've played 29.5 minutes into the second quarter, and it's a totally commanding lead that Frankston enjoy, 58 points.
Heathmead just 8 possessions, Phil. Back to Pickering from Mullane. George, good pass to him. Marked in front of Griffin. Looking for Clark, too tall. Gee, that was easy. And they're a bit, no matter what they do back there, Box Hill, they don't seem to have the height to match Clark or Stubbs.
And see, the way Frankston have put it up is very, very smart too. On that occasion, Ross, with a bloke like Clark, the idea is just put it high, isn't it? You know, he's going to pluck the ball out of the air. Don't want him running to the ball, just put it up, and that's what they've done. On that occasion, Clark, easy as you like, just put the hands up over Douglas.
6 goals to 4 in favour of Frankston in this
kicked
quarter.
Straight. Oh,
missed one.
No, he's shaking the head there. It's just to the right. And I noticed in the AFL the other night, the umpires, as we were saying on the could-have-beens this morning, they've certainly gone to the tailor and had the hems on the shorts taken up, Rocco. Who knows, they'll be back to those nice little tight things that Frankie Bergoma used to wear when he was those oiled umpire running around the paddock. Plenty of flesh showing with Frank. It was good too.
Douglas, huge kick in. Stubbs knocks the ball down. I don't know what to say. David Taylor finding Saliba. Calling for it in short. He goes high. Clark's got 2 to beat here, and he goes for the mark again. Douglas nearly brought it down. Well gathered there, and deliberately out of bounds by Stuart Murley. He was the player actually I was looking for earlier who sent out a handball that ended in a Box Hill goal. But Murley, look at Murley's shorts, Phil. If we just pull back here, I think he's taken the lead out of the umpires with the very baggy jobs. What do you think?
I think so. You know, the snagism.
Heathmead, well, possession number 9 for the half. Well, might have been a very good one.
Just wasn't positioned right to kick on that right foot there. He would have had to kick that on the left or take another step there, Heathmead. Yes.
Terrible thought, thinking when you're 80 and rocking in your chair there, you'll be talking about the 70s and Frankie going, God, you'll be boring.
I'll be talking about the 1980s then. I'll have moved a decade in 40 years.
If Phil, you know, if you do happen to go before Frank, I think we get Frank to deliver the eulogy. Is that all right? Can we set that up now?
Oh, well, let me think about that.
Well, I know it's not a nice thing to have to think about.
Heathmead finishing off the half with a couple of possessions and a chance for a goal. The lead is 60 points.
You're just likely to put this one right over the goal umpire's cap.
Allsop's been watching him. He's on the mark. And that just doesn't rub salt into the wound. The goal on the siren.
And a beautiful goal at that, Roscoe. Yes, you're right. That boy Allsop, number 38 for Box Hill's, worn him like a glove. 6 big goals last week, Heathmead. And there he is. They love him down at Frankston. He's a terrific player, very exciting. And I remember talking to him last year about the racism in sport. He had some very interesting things to say. Being an Aboriginal boy himself.
He's actually a Noongar, Phil, from Western Australia. And, well, 100 points from Frankston by half-time. And look at this again, the goal-kicking load being spread now with Richard Stubbs getting 3 goals by halfway through the quarter. He was swung into the ruck. Mark was sent up there, missed 2 goals he could have kicked, so it could have even been bigger than an 11-goal lead at half-time. Lee Taylor's got 3, Pickering's got 2, that's Justin. George got 2 in that quarter, and Heathmead, his first goal kicked just then. Murley got 2 goals in that term. Dower kicked 1, and Dwayne the other goal kicker, along with Eddie, who got a goal in that quarter. 5 goals, that's as many as Box Hill got in the whole of last week, so they at least have that in their favour at half-time here, but 66 points, 11 goals. Frankston very, very happy with their first half performance. They are on the way to another big win here against Box Hill. It's half-time at the City Oval.
Well, our Match of the Day commentary team are back after half-time at Box Hill, where Frankston are really on course for the 3rd win in a row. Peter, I noticed Phil was so interested in what the umpires were wearing. Perhaps we could get him into a pair of tight shorts for the second half.
Oh, no, Beverly, please.
It might inspire them.
We enjoyed that half-time very much. Thanks very much. But, look, we had a lovely afternoon tea provided by Elaine from Box Hill, always looks after us. But,
indeed.
I think those tight shorts would have put us right off our tucker.
Yes, Beverly, you didn't see Frank Vergona umpire, but I tell you what, you'd have been very impressed.
I don't know, Phil. I wouldn't mind seeing you in a pair of tight ones.
Oh, well, we can arrange it. We can arrange it. We'll have the cameras there, don't you worry. Thanks, Bev. As I said, terrific half-time there. Well, back here, it's 11 goals the difference. Philip, looking at some highlights. Better quarter from Box Hill that second. They kicked 3 goals. But, you know, this guy kicked 3 in the first half of the quarter, and they were able to put him into the ruck.
Yes, plenty of versatility in that Frankston lineup, Peter. They're a very good side. The only thing is, for Rhys Jones, the concern for Rhys Jones, they haven't really been tested. You know, 3 wins, the 2 newcomers, North Ballarat and Terralgan, and now Box Hill, who are really down on their luck at present. I think that was Burnell setting it up nice and high for that man Stubbs. I tell you what, he's becoming a very good player. Some exciting players in the VFL this year. Of course, Rhys Jones with Frankston. Some of these blokes like Heathmead. Look at the number of kicks and the marks and the handballs. Yes, Roscoe, the stats here tell a story, my friend.
Well, Phil, the story from the Frankston room is that David Rhys-Jones very happy. Open door there for the moment. They're going that well. Not to let up. They do all the hard work on track, and they're very disciplined. He's about that. Zach Badrock has injured his back, and he won't be back. And Mark Lyle from the match committee for Box Hill said that he just wants them to be competitive this half. They've made so many moves, there's no moves left to make.
Yeah. Very good point, Ross. As we see Payne kicking the ball off the ground. Box Hill going to the left of screen. Griffin tackled there. Taylor gets the kick away. Or Ryan, rather. Taylor laid the tackle, and McNamara with the ball. Goes out wide. This is Eddie for Box Hill. Didn't have a bad second quarter. In short, and there is Greg. Brett falls a little bit short, allows Rhys Jones to spoil. Taylor putting his body in there. Almost for Heath Goodale. Ibrahim can't break the tackle from Bowie. Mullane out of the glue pot. Oh, this is looking dangerous for Box Hill. Pickering. It's one-on-one back there. He's got the break here. Stubbs, he's back at full forward on Douglas. Always tough for the fullback there. He's going to just turn around and blaze away. Even with the heavy ball, he's got it through. Taylor was dropping down into the goal square. I don't know whether he was shooting or hoping that Lee Taylor would run onto it. Doesn't matter. He's got his 7th. Back at full forward, Richard Stubbs.
Well, it's just a walk in the park for Stubbs, isn't it, Peter? There he is, the big bloke, number 17. Pickering doing well, puts it up nicely. The Stubbs there, and on a lead at 45. And he decides, he thinks smart there, sees the open goals, not player between Stubbs and the goals, and he sinks that ball through the sticks.
Oh dear. 12 goals in front, Frankston. Payne was tackled, fell out of his grip to Dwayne. He's going to get a free kick. It was Cohen. Didn't see a lot of Bruce Cohen, Phil.
Very quiet, Peter, and he's a driver, and I think Ross made the point, you know, I'd like to see him right in amongst the play.
Well, that's Andrew Pickering, who had 4 handballs in the first quarter. And, well, gee, that looks like a stitch or two.
Yes.
Now, Dwayne going down the middle. Goodale was in front. O'Neill behind. Taken away by Dwyer. I thought maybe the way he kicked it, there was somebody in the golden brown back there, but it was only Des Ryan. He gives it to Stephen. Going past Sean Mullane. Bouncing the ball out in front of George. Bundles the ball back to teammate. I think it was David Taylor that flipped the ball upfield. Heath Mead, Allsop's been wearing him like a glove today. Got a good help out from Greg. Pickering went in there. Well, Box Hill just playing for respectability. 12 goals down.
Yes, as Ross mentioned, coming back at half-time or during the half-time break, they've made plenty of moves, Box Hill, but they're just aren't enough good players on the chessboard at the present time for the Mustangs.
Sean Mullane's kick forward, marked by John McNamara.
And this bloke has got to do more as one of the more skilled players in the Box Hill lineup.
There's Douglas. Burley. Charles tackles him, and then Burley knocks it over the boundary line.
Could have been holding the ball under Roscoe's new rule. Russell, tell us all about that rule. You were baffled earlier, viewers. You'll be more baffled.
I was can't concentrate on 2 things at once. Philip Bowie finally finds Burnell with a hand pass. Gee, they're playing competently. Stephen Ryan looking for Dennis Stubbs in front of McBean.
And I don't want to, sorry, Ross, appear in one of those carping criticisms as a tautology, more baffled. Can you be more baffled?
I think so.
Phil,
well.
Ooh, gee, I don't know about that.
Ooh, gee.
That's
That chain's made of stern stuff.
That looks tougher than the George Allen of the 70s, Ross.
Yes.
Sorry to talk about the 70s again.
Eddie went along the boundary line. Goodale out on the full. Well, Phil, just coming back to the 90s, 96. Have you noticed any? I mean, Mark Lowe was saying that there are no more moves to make, but have they done anything significant like getting players into that centre square area?
I haven't
For example,
spotted
using
that
Goodale
yet.
or Cohen.
In the one, but
Cohen's about there's Cohen on the ground. He seems he's not injured. There he is.
he's been off for some time, hasn't he? How long was
Yes.
he off for, Ross?
Oh, about half a quarter, I think.
Yeah.
Was it an eighth?
So you got that calculator in front of you.
This is David Taylor. Ooh, touched by the man on the mark. McBean's handball. And Murley got the ball away to Douglas. McNamara Oh, put his body in Saliba there. He's got rid of the long sleeves. It's a beautiful afternoon.
Play.
Ibrahim shoots the ball out to Cohen. Sorry, Goodale.
Ooh.
Reece Jones drifting in from the side. Charles's handball. Des Ryan. Too long for David Reece Jones. There's plenty of red jumpers there. What a shepherd that was from Sean Mullane. He sat Tim Livingston on his backside. There's Atkinson getting the ball out to Moore. See that one, Phil?
No, I just missed that, Peter. I had my eye on.
Very legal, very well delivered.
Yes, I don't know how Ross Booth reacted to that. He's not big on use of the body on body. Concerns him, but he does have an interest in the amateur competition.
Eyes up.
Look, I won't bother anymore. Mullane. Towards Mead. Right with him is Allsop. Bowie's been a good player, Phil, in that first half.
Yes, and he uses the ball particularly well, both by hand and foot. Very creative player. I think it's the boy Heath Mead.
And I think we're seeing a few of these ex-Daniel guys as well, adjusting,
good,
adjusting to the new team from last year.
Well, they promised a bit during the course of the year, and even Frankston in the finals got through one of those finals particularly well and then collapsed, as they have done over the past 10 years, going back to about 86. When they played, lost the second semi, and they've just had a succession. I think they lost the grand final in 84. Never been able to quite win enough of them. But this year, I suspect we are seeing a very different Frankston team.
Yes, David Reece Jones, the rooms are quite close here at Box Hill, and you'd hear John Murphy roaring through the doors, and David Reece Jones saying, expect a lot from Box Hill. They're going to come out, you know, doing it for the jumper. He was quite impressive at half-time, I thought, Reece Jones.
Well, he's seen a lot of football. He's been a premiership player at Carlton, a Norm Smith medalist, a captain coach, premiership side in Tasmania, and he got a good attitude to the game.
Mullane behind. So in this quarter, Frankston have kicked one goal. Box Hill yet to score. Box Hill going to the left of screen, where they only kicked 1 goal 4 in the first quarter.
And all sides using zone defence these days in VFL football now. You've got a 3-man zone, or three, at least a 3-man zone here.
Douglas kicks it out towards Jared O'Neill, or Slater. Comes off O'Neill's hands. Let's hope in a week or two they're starting to stick for Jared O'Neill, and his confidence starts rising. This is Clark. Been very good in the ruck today, and that's an intelligent kick. He really gives Stubbs a chance here. But Douglas, this guy, Phil, he's done a terrific job back there. Allsop. Oh, he's in trouble. Ibrahim. It's Douglas that's going to have to clean up. Adam Douglas gets a good shepherd from Goodale. Look at that determination. That's inspirational stuff. Livingston. If he can get going, Box Hill looks so much more like a VFL football team. Payne gets it to McNamara. This is the best passage we've seen from the Mustangs. He can go over the top. Griffin decides to pass instead to who? It was a shocker. He was looking for Dwayne, instead found Reece Jones,
who has Mullane unattended at centre-half back.
I think that Mullane and Livingston have parted for the time being, Roscoe. I don't know whether maybe Livingston was tagging Mullane earlier. He's gone to a wing, possibly.
Meantime, Slater chips in. I just watched Livingston as he handballed and then didn't seem to follow it. He may not be fully fit.
That's
might
not
be
a
carrying
bad call,
something.
Ross.
He's not the same, and he's moving a bit slower. Dower into the back of Des Ryan, 32. He just doesn't seem to have much pep, Livingston. There's Bruce Cowan, 14, son of the president, and one of the good midfielders here at Box Hill, though he hasn't done a lot. There's Saliba on the bench for Frankston. Quick work by Griffin to Greg. Eddie. And Reece Jones, gee, read that nicely. McBean was caught flat-footed. Moore over the top to Stephen Ryan.
Almost.
Back it comes again. To Moore.
Doors, boys.
Hoisted high. It's going to be okay. Stubbs, that was Dennis. He's got it back. Off the ground to Heath Goodale. Livingston. Yeah, he's a little bit draft horse-like in chasing that one, and enabled Ryan charge his kick down.
And that's critical for a player such as Livingston, because he requires the running game to go right for him, or he's so dependent on his running game, finding space, and he never lets up. Just that yard shorter today.
All the body language is bad.
It is, Ross. Good call.
Ibrahim to Payne. Now Dow will fly. through the hands again. Well worked by Dwyer. Was at the fall. Good effort, Murley. Now, in front was Payne. O'Neill showing a bit of toe, chasing is Stephen Ryan. And O'Neill just couldn't turn and get back onto that one.
Has he had a kick, O'Neill? I doubt whether he's had one kick.
Charles. Short.
Back on the ground, Andrew Pickering. Handball out to David Taylor. Well caught there by McNamara. George backs himself to get past McNamara and had to handball it over the boundary line deliberately. Perhaps those blokes off the sign could come in and lend Box Hill a hand here and push start their fight back in this game. It's like Dipper over there riding the boundary. Pickering.
Boys.
Oh, well marked there by Stephen Ryan.
He just about sink this, but he's not going to bother.
Over the head of Mullane. Douglas. Going for a gallop in front of the grandstand.
You have powered him, Peter.
Empowered him. There's the handball out from Burnell. Dennis Stubbs taps the ball down to Stephen Ryan. Beautiful handball. Burnell steadies on the left. It's coming back. Hits a sausage. Dean Burnell gets his first. And that is the second goal of the quarter to Frankston. We've only had 2 goals kicked in this quarter, which is nearly 12 minutes old.
Well, Burnell's a beautiful player. Once he gets onto that left foot, he really finishes very, very well. And we see him here. Ball goes out, but see, he runs on, comes back, wins the ball back there. I think it was from Clark, was it? And Burnell, see, that's just persistence, basically. It sounds a bit old-fashioned, but they are the facts of the matter. Not enough of that at the Box Hill end. And Rhys Jones, very clever then. But
Dwyer just dragged down at the end, backs himself for pace, but Des Ryan catches Brent Dower. Cleared out to Brendan Moore. It's pretty sticky over there, practice wicket area. Brendan Moore wearing a fair bit of the City Oval on that new Dolphins jumper. It's a very frightening looking dolphin on the front cover. That's Eddie, I think your mate Ross, been benched.
I went to school with a Travis Eddy. Not the same one. Ooh. Saw Mullane and Dwyer getting entangled. Sean Mullane, yes, he's going to get the free kick. Thought he deserved it. Calling for it short is Clark. Popped up high for the big fella. Back he goes. Good spoil, McNamara. Mead tackling strongly. But there was a good example of no prior opportunity for David Griffin. Umpire will bounce.
good call, Ross. So we hear a man on top of the rules talk about them.
Andrew Pickering. Griffin in front of Atkinson. Atkinson not that conspicuous today.
Very quiet.
At the back, O'Neill leapt pretty high. Struggling to get the ball clear as Cohen worked hard in the middle of the pack. Stephen Ryan heads for the boundary. Charles ring back into defence. And there's a good tackle on Dean Grace.
By that man, Reese.
No leerising was one other of his instructions at half-time.
He's never been that kind of player himself, has he?
And he's, if he can get that into this team, it's a great asset.
Bit of an Old Testament man occasionally, but certainly not a lair.
Which you think's his favourite book, Phil, out of the Old Testament?
I'd have to think about that one, Peter. I haven't read the Bible for a while.
Griffin gets it across to Ibrahim. Nice low kick. This is Grace. Knocked down. It's good play by Payne. The kick from Ibrahim's marked by Dower. Hasn't kicked a goal yet. Brent Dower, yes, he has. One.
Well, he showed a bit of promise in that first game against North Ballarat, Peter. I mentioned on the day that he didn't seem to me to be a prime forward. He'd be good with the cover of a Wilkinson, and today I think that's been borne out. Hasn't got enough height to really worry a defence.
behind.
All clear.
First score of the quarter from Box Hill, and it's taken 15.5 minutes.
Box Hill too using a zone defence, but on this occasion Rhys Jones able to find a way in short, as so often is the case.
Punts as long as he can. A big lead from Taylor. Went too far, the kick. And Taylor leading right up the ground into the centre square from centre forward. Back to McNamara from Grace. O'Neill. Trying to lift his game. Atkinson up early. On punched.
Stuck into it.
And we'll go in at the 16-minute mark. As looking heavenwards is Payne. Nothing going right for the Mustangs. Clark, O'Neill couldn't get off the ground there to contest with the height advantage. Burnell. Big Slater. Well, dispossessed by Lee Taylor. Bowie in strongly against McNamara.
Bowie.
Good give to George. Sidestep.
Beautiful play.
On his preferred foot.
Kick the goal.
Now inside 50. David George for number 3, and he's done through. Lovely goal.
No.
No? Well, look straight through the middle.
That seemed to sneak through.
The goal didn't seem to move, did the field?
No, I did. It was a touch somewhere, Roscoe. There's the... No. Well, I might see it again. No, probably won't. And there's Livingston. Been a little bit quiet. Been very quiet, in fact, Peter.
No one would know it better than Tim Livingston. He's kicking there towards Dwayne. We didn't let him down. Oh, could have been paid. He has been, yeah. Dwayne shooting the ball out to Griffin. Oh, there's Jared O'Neill. Over there on the Middleborough Road side of the ground, starting to get into it a little bit more. Dow had to go with the fist as the kick dropped short. Liberally coated with mud it is. There's Cohen. Squaring kicks good to Goodale. Through his hands, though, Stephen Ryan. Looked very assured today. Ryan gives it to Des. There's Ryan to the open spaces. Grandstand side of the ground. Grace sees a gap. Now it's Allsop. This is looking better for the Mustangs. Goodale gives it across to Payne. Big mark, Dower. Bit of system, Phil.
Yes, Peter, and that they were able to move the ball around then and find the space and then drive it to a forward line that was under less pressure. Caught the backs there, having to think about which way the ball was going to come through rather than being on a line.
Well, he's missed one in this quarter, Brent Dower. 20 metres out, more direct. He hasn't missed this time, so that's his second goal. To say it was desperately needed, an understatement. Just the first goal of the quarter from the boot of a Box Hill player. It's taken 18.5 minutes.
Well, it's good running, and you see players here, when the ball's on the move, the back line is under a lot of pressure. Can't be sure which way the player will lead. Dower's able to find a little space through the middle there. The backs are at 6 and 7s, and he plucks the mark. Too often they've been intercepted by the likes of Rhys Jones and Ryan. But on that occasion, the advantage.
73 points is the lead for Frankston. As Clark gets the ball down, shot out by Andrew Pickering.
Good kick.
Yes, Mullane, beautiful.
Kick.
He hooked it around the corner to Justin Pickering.
On his left foot there, and he spotted Pickering. One thing about Mullane, he's always got very good vision. And
look at this long run down the ground from Stephen Ryan and handed off by Justin Pickering by foot. If you know what I'm talking about, but very unselfish. But Ryan's come right down from the back pocket.
And you know what's good about that too, Peter? Not only the fact that Ryan ran, but the fact that he received the football, because he's rewarded for the run and he deserves the goal. It's terrible when you make the run and you don't get the possession, but when you do, it's really good for team morale.
It's back to 79 points the difference. That's the first goal kicked today by Stephen Ryan.
Been effective out of the back line, coming off a half-back flank or a wing. I think he's been playing, Ryan. I think it was a half-back line, but he just ran the whole length of that ground through the square.
Here he comes.
There he goes. You see him there. By the time we're watching this, he's now well back in the back half of the ground at centre half-back. finishes off. Good goal.
Looks like Dwayne, his man, Phil. Well, you could say now he should have followed him down.
My word.
Brad Paris about to come on for the Dolphins.
They've been moving.
Yes. And Phil, we just watched Ryan ran right back and started on the defensive side of the square on the half-back flank.
Indeed. And that's terrific play.
Now Slater has contested pretty well in there. Even contest there. Griffin towards O'Neill. Murley couldn't gather. It was Greg legged. Box Hill players can't take it cleanly. In goes Greg again. Reece Jones right there. Murley. Jason Ibrahim. Sidestepping nicely. The pass is on. He's put down after he kicked the ball, but Dower marked it anyway. So Dower 2 goals of the 6 for Box Hill. There's Brad Paris. And off comes Andrew Pickering. Dower for number 3. Just pushed a couple to right. That looks all right.
Straight over the top.
We'll wait for the goal by this time. We won't be fooled again. But it's straight through. 3 goals to Brent Dower.
Just thinking there, looking at Jared O'Neill, Ross, he was in this piece of play and he didn't make much of it. But Ibrahim here just finds Dower. Free kick afterwards. But that's good play by Dower. Mobile. And he puts the ball straight over the umpire, the goal umpire's head. 6 points. But Jared O'Neill is really, and you made the point, Peter, very nervous about his play.
73 points the difference, having a bit of trouble with our computer at the moment, but it's 18-12, 120 Frankston, Box Hill 7-5-47, 73 points the margin in favour of the Dolphins. This is David Taylor. He'll get the ball back from Ryan. No, Ryan goes over the top. Taylor's handball. Tunneled back inside to Atkinson. One thing about Stephen Ryan, if he doesn't get possession first time, he keeps rolling on, and here he is with it after Pickering handball to him on the ground. Mullane didn't really expect it, I don't think. It clean bowled him. That's Griffin. Couldn't get it past Mullane now, who takes over. George, it was in there before that. Stubbs gets it off to Heathmead. He's been very much out of the picture today, Heathmead. And that's out in the full.
Yeah, he's been warned by Allsop, number 38, but he's still been reasonably effective.
Well, the thing is, they've got so many contributors around the place. He's not being unduly missed today. Saliba about to come back on. I'd say this is about his 3rd time off the bench, Andrew Saliba, today. And that's David Taylor. I don't think he's too happy about being taken off, Phil.
Well, he was playing on Brett Gregg early in the game, and Gregg's still there, and I think had the better of him. Or he kept him out of the game anyway, put it
Clark
that way.
got the tap. Goodale kicked it forward. Richard Stubbs bounces the ball to Atkinson. He knows he can't take possession. He was hot. Justin Pickering knocked it down to Stubbs. Mullane, ooh, sprayed it. So it's a 74-point lead for the Frankston Dolphins. And we approach time on. Box Hill in this quarter have kicked 2 goals. Frankston 3. 44 points up at quarter time with the Frankston side.
O'Neill is the target with this kick in. He went under it. So did Burnell. McNamara. It's past Grace. Reece Jones content to run it over. No one willing to lay a tackle. Perhaps it was over the line. There's the margin as we tick over towards time on in the 3rd quarter. Great to see sunshine. The ground's standing up very well. Dwyer couldn't grab it. Atkinson did for Frankston. Back comes Goodale. He's trying hard, Phil. I think Goodale.
Yes.
Pretty effective. McNamara, high ball. Douglas trying very hard and knocked over the line deliberately. The umpire will say throw it in. That's Andrew Giles. And there's Paris just on the ground. 15 for Frankston. Sat the first half on the bench.
Midway between wing and half forward for the Mustangs. Goodale, he's been a good try today. He's got a free kick there. Umpire now calling play on. Umpire Giles. That was Rhys Jones. He beat about 3 there, Phil.
He got the ball out of Jared O'Neill's hands too. O'Neill had the front position. There's Rhys getting up. Rhys Jones from the ground. Uses his brain, Rhys Jones. Marks when he has to, or when he can, and when he has to, he punches the ball clear.
Grabbed by Justin Pickering. Past Bowie. Dennis Stubbs has been a bit quiet. Bowie's run onto it. Will it sit for him? Back he goes. Over the shoulder, but way wide. But a minor score.
Playing a bit like millionaires at the moment, Frankston, Phil.
Yes, you would have thought that Brett Bowie's usually a good finisher. He wasn't under that much pressure then. I thought he would have sunk that.
All our country viewers can watch some action tonight on Win TV, who are doing a terrific job with the new clubs in the VFL, North Ballarat and Terralgon, because North Ballarat are playing under lights against the defending VFA champion Springvale, as he looked to be crossing it, George, there. To goal, he has. You saw him look across to see if there was anybody in a better position than him. There wasn't, so he's threaded it from the fence. 3rd goal for David George.
And a big smile there, and of course on the left foot on the boundary side, so it's not the favoured side for a left footer. You see him here, punches the ball away. This kid's a good player. Obvious to anyone watching, he's got a lot of class, and that's a superb goal. Just an exhibition of the great skills of the game of football.
Well, almost uncontested. Stubbs read it better. Paddling forward Allsop, who's in the square because Mead's in the square. Livingston. Oh, he looks to taken a nasty one there. He's writhing around on the ground, Livingston. Meantime, Douglas. Dwyer looks for the pass. And Dower just had the path of the ball interrupted by a hand, a Frankston hand. Picked up by Cohen. A snap, and it's good. It's true. And Box Hill get their 8th goal through Bruce Cohen.
Yes, well, off the ground for some time, Bruce Cohen, and struggling a bit. And there we see Livingston there on the deck after a very heavy bump. Miss Cohen. Sorry, Ross.
I thought the bump sort of took his legs from under him.
It did. It was a very well-placed bump by Moore. He just flicked his body from underneath. Now, I don't know, he's...
Now look at the Cohen goal again. It came from a missed kick off the ground by Stephen Ryan, who knocked the ball well away from Dower then, but couldn't get his full foot to the ball there. And, ooh, that hurts. And that hurts even more. Oh, no, right knee.
Yeah, I think, you know, it could achieve, because the way the legs went from under him, the hip, Brendan Moore's hip really collected him beneath the hip, took the legs from underneath.
McNamara's kick, it comes off hands to Eddie. Jones underneath it and knocked away by O'Neill, but Jones goes again. And there's a handball off to Stephen Ryan. Good long kick. George. Again, he looked sideways. He saw Atkinson. Comes back to Atkinson from Bowie. Great pace around Douglas. He hasn't been able to hook the ball enough. And there's Slater marking it just inside the fence. Well, here's Tim Livingston, one of the prime movers for Box Hill for years, copping a hip and shoulder from Brendan Moore, his VFA teammate of last year.
See, that lower down wasn't at the hip, and took the legs from
Here's
under.
Bowie, another VFA rep. He's got this one.
Sunk that easily.
That's second. And that's the 20th goal for Frankston.
Well, you've got to wonder just how good this side is, don't you? Have they met any real opposition?
Philip, you can only beat
Yes,
teams put on the
comes
paddock
up against you. I know. They look very, very good. We've seen them look good in the past and not finish up. But Bowie here, that's very smart play. Very smart play as he just clipped the ball out of the air and then he goes after it. But I just, one thing...
What do you think about the kick there out of the back pocket?
Well, gee. Danger personified.
Close
Danger highbrow.
Three-quarter time. Bowie. Another kick forward. Dennis Stubbs lost sight of it. In comes Heath Mead. Got a push off the ball by Slater. George with him, Ibrahim.
Good play.
Suspect looking hand pass to Paris on the angle, and the hands go up from the Box Hill defender in McBean because he realised that that kick from the angle had gone through.
That's his first kick in VFL football.
Brad Paris.
That's a goal.
Well, that's a good way to start your career. Just ping one from the boundary
Doesn't
line.
look too happy, does he?
Well, he thinks he should have been on earlier, Roscoe. And Tim Livingston, I don't know, oh, is it the knee or is it lower down? It may not. Let's have a look. He's looking at the ankle, which is a better sign. If it's the knee, you go into panic mode. The ankles tend to repair themselves a little bit easier. And there's the score. Well, that's a big lead, isn't it? 80-odd points, 87 points. I'll get my calculator out there to Frankston.
They took a while to get going, Frankston, in that quarter, but then they just rattled home with goals, rammed home their advantage, and it's going from bad to worse for Box Hill. Injuries again, hitting this club very badly, and they're on the road to their third straight defeat. Frankston on the way to the biggest score of the season so far. 87 points in front at three-quarter time. They led by 44 at quarter time, 66 at half-time. Now 87 points the difference. 7 goals for in that quarter from the Dolphins. 6 goals for, rather, while Box Hill kicked 3 goals, 1. That's the story at three-quarter time. Back to Bev in the studio, but it's an 87-point lead that Frankston will be taking into the last quarter.
Time now to go back out to City Oval.
Thanks, Beverly. Well, the working class men of Frankston, 87 points up. We've been dropping on David Rees-Jones is one of the boys in blue. Oh, pick on somebody your own size. At least he didn't jump anyway. He's enjoying himself out there with the kids. You're able to go out on the grounds and kick around during the huddles at quarter time.
Well, that's right, Peter. I heard Tim Lane say you don't hear the coaches speak in football. Well, you do in the VFA/VFL, and the VFL as it is now, and you have been for years and years in the VFA, and it's a great thing to get out and hear the coaches. There's people there you see dispersing now. They've been out to hear Rees-Jones and Johnny Murphy, and then we're into the highlights this third quarter. Frankston, pretty machine-like. Very interesting comments by Rees-Jones, I thought, Peter. That was that boy Stubbs. The left footer, he's kicked 7 big ones, and that was one of them, yes. Open space, decides to ping the ball through the goals. Box Hill working a bit harder. Burnell there flicks one through. Stubbs taps it on. Clark, I think that was. Burnell on the left boot, bang, goal, easy. And they know it. Rees-Jones made the point. We start thinking we're good, we're in trouble, and that's probably a fair call about Frankston over the last couple of years. Got a bit excited about their form and then collapsed at a crucial moment. And that was Dower who went to the forward line then and kicked 2 big goals. He kicked 1 in the second and he kicked 2 in the third. He got 3 goals at the moment. This was a superb piece of work by Ryan. Stephen Ryan.
It was running. He saw shoot that handball a little bit earlier in the highlights.
That's
Bill.
right.
So he's
it was, sorry, not Clark.
He's able to get down the ground from off the half-back line.
Called
there.
that wrong.
Ibrahim, he off their bench, he's tried hard.
Yes, and again to Dower. And going back to Ryan, that was a fantastic run from half-back. Dower kicking 2 of his 3 goals in that third quarter, but you've got to be disappointed with the Mustangs, and I'm sure the coach Johnny Murphy is a former champion player, and David George off the boundary line taps the ball, goes after it, and as easy as you like. Ryan doesn't quite get onto that. Cohen, Bruce Cohen that is, been struggling today off the ground for a while, kicks a goal. Well, kicks Frankston, marks Frankston, handball's only about 10 in it, frees not much, hit outs double to Frankston, so they've won it all over the place. And although they've Learised a bit and wasted a bit, they've been the ball quite a bit. They've been very effective, Ross Booth.
Yes, for Tim Livingston over there having his right ankle heavily strapped. I shouldn't think he'd be coming back on, but Matt Brewer is injured, looking on. Darren Wilkinson injured, looking on. So not too good. John Murphy, just when asked the players, said, well, what can we do? No point berating you. It's up to you. So very despondent camp, as you'd imagine, for Box Hill there with Johnny Murphy.
Yes, not many moves they can make, Ross. They've tried them all.
Here they go into attack. Starting the last term. Dwayne's handball out. Cohen gets a good shepherd. That came from O'Neill. Spoil from Des Ryan. Now Paris shepherding for David Rees-Jones. He's gone. Caught by Murley. Play on is the call. Dwayne's kicked it out in the full. No advantage there. Can be brought back, Phil, can't it?
Well, it wasn't a good advantage, was it? But David Rhys-Jones didn't have time to complain. Then the ball was swept away. He'd like to have, wouldn't he? He was all set to take it up with the umpire. He's having a look now, wishing he could have just spat out half a dozen words. But wasn't to be, and probably just as well. He was caught stone motherless.
The two big men jostling, Slater and Clark. Gregg's handball. Well gathered by Jared O'Neill. Good kick to the edge of the square, but too many Frankston players there. Bowie, he picked up 11 handballs up until three-quarter time. Brett Bowie, along with 9 kicks, 20 possessions for him. Leading possession getter, Stephen Ryan with 23. And out in the full Box Hill there, so it's still 87 points the difference. That was Grace having the snap.
And the minute you start mentioning stats early in the last quarter for that coffee fall,
I hadn't looked at them,
the old
Philip.
Ross Booth gets a bit nervous. Have they been happy with your pick over the last couple of weeks, the teams?
No one's accosted me yet.
Won't be far away.
See how you go today, Phil. Stephen Ryan. Up goes Paris.
A Southern Stingray is Brad Paris. He's 20 years of age.
Comes from Texas.
Or France. Or a Greek god, Phil. Trojan Wars, wasn't it?
Endless possibilities, yes. It's a great story, that one.
Burnell. Kicked it very high. Underneath that was Saliba, who was sandwiched. McNamara was pretty chatty at three-quarter time. He was positive there. But he ran into a wall. Goodale.
I was going to ask Ross if you'd picked Box Hill's Achilles heel yet.
They're going in a bit harder. Good
They
tackle. Mullane. Grabbed by Murley. And they work it forward. O'Neill. But way wide.
Way off there, and the umpire motioning purposefully there that the ball is well and truly out of bounds. It's Jared O'Neill. You've got to feel from him a bit. Hasn't come back from the knee injury, oozing with confidence.
And I think psychologically all the recent injuries would not have helped, would they?
No. You mean in footy generally? Yes, I think players are acutely aware of the knee injury these days.
Payne with a kick forward towards Dower.
I think we had a lull for it. We had a brief lull, and then bang, there was another burst to them, Peter.
I was talking to David Banfield's father before the match. He made an interesting observation that probably we're more aware of, because players that do knees, as we look at Livingston about to come back on with that ankle problem. There's a snap. Is it Gregg? He's hit the post. So the first score of the quarter is Box Hills. It was Brett Gregg, so it's 86 points the difference. He said players that do knees now do come back a year later, where in the old days they were gone forever. So
right.
You weren't focusing on a bloke, oh, when's he going to break down again? So he does it again, as we've seen on too many occasions. And Walker at Collingwood and Neitz at Melbourne.
Gee, what a great
But we
kicking.
only had really Danaher was about the one who was the only one for a while, I think, who did the knee and had recurring problems. Then everyone seemed to have the knee done and be all right. Then all of a sudden we got a bevy of blokes who did it the second time. So players now very concerned.
Gregg's a kick forward. Atkinson.
Just following that up, Ross, it's sort of not the miracle that it was. I mean, we've discovered we're quite fallible now, we human beings with knee joints. I mean, for a while their players thought, no, I'll be sweet. But it's a real worry for the game, the knee injury. I just don't know what you can do about it.
Long recuperative period, I think.
Well, I suspect rule changes, though, too, Ross. I think the holding the ball change, for example, will affect the game in certain ways. Like you won't have the same number of fierce tackles laid because players will get rid of the ball quicker. So this changes, and they might even have to think of other ones. But anyway.
No goals yet in the final term. Boxall trying very hard, trying to get some confidence. Lee Taylor again leading right up the ground. He's done that very well today. Focal put for them. Stubbs has come right to the centre from full forward, 24. That's Dennis Stubbs. David Taylor out with the left-hand hand pass. Off the ground, Eddie. Followed up. Good determination by the youngster. Finds Payne at half forward. Looks for a short. Not a lot of 50 with a kick. And out comes Stephen Ryan, leaving Dower in his wake.
Bouncing it over. No, it just sits there. David Rhys-Jones couldn't take it with him, but he stops 2 Box Hill players getting away with it. That's a pretty picture, isn't it?
Was that a melee there, Ross?
Yeah, Ross.
We only needed one more player.
You're talking about rule changes, Phil. Do you think the melee rule will affect the knee injury count?
I don't have to think about that.
Nearly 6 minutes played in the last quarter. 86 points up, Frankston. McNamara has caught, so got the handball away to Ibrahim. It's Justin Pickering taking it now and getting it to Heathmead. Off towards Sean Mullane. Well played by McBean. Handballed it before he was tackled.
Good play.
Got it away to a teammate who got it to half forward. Fine grab. Dwayne, was it? That took the mark? Yes, he got it down to O'Neill. Kick a goal, Jared. Oh, he's passed it instead. Good mark in the pocket. Well, he's had a fair bit of ball, Darren Payne. This is his first game for Box Hill. Sublist player from the AFL as Justin Pickering substituted. Chance for him to kick his first goal. Darren Payne has got it. First goal of the last quarter is Box Hill's. It took 7 minutes, and the difference is 80 points now in favour of Frankston.
Well, certainly very important for Box Hill that they apply a bit of pressure, and it's at ground level where it really counts. The tackles and smothers and just strong contesting, and out of that you can usually start to develop a bit of confidence. And the kick from O'Neill wasn't good, but fortunately it found Payne and he finished it off.
Bit of attention for Sean Mullane in the centre square for Frankston, Clark, George, Bowie and Atkinson. And both ruckman up before acceptances. Off the ground, Atkinson. Heathmead, strong, held, will be free kicked.
Yes.
An open space in front of the goals. Chance for a lead into that area by Stubbs, but the kick a bit long.
Oh.
Richard Stubbs. Well, number 8.
Easy.
Yes, 6 in the first half and 1 each in the third and final quarters. So Richard Stubbs, 8 goals.
Yes.
You have to say Jason McBean's done a good job on Dennis Stubbs.
Yeah, he has. Dennis Stubbs been very quiet. McBean had him from word go, and Richard Stubbs had a couple of opponents. Slater early and then Douglas, but he's finished off. Kicked 3 in the first quarter, 3 in the second, 1 in the third and 1 in the last. Certainly Douglas has worked hard on him under a lot of pressure and done better than other players in that first half of the game.
Phil, I noticed there's Heath Goodale, so in the square.
Yes, I noticed, but yeah, you're right, Ross, in that last contest he was right in amongst it. Certainly got to have those power players in there.
Cohen's there too, so that's looking good. Slater in the ruck, good contest.
You've obviously played a bit of football, Roscoe, I'd suspect.
Back in the 70s. Well, I don't remember.
Different game then, wasn't it?
That's right. Oh, strong tackle, Heathmead. I don't think there was an opportunity for...
Well, this is probably not many would know, but Ross Booth was a fierce player with Monash. In the amateur competition, one of the Stubbs boys coming off.
Dennis.
Peter G picked it in one. Been very quiet. I reckon they've got the antenna on you, Peter. When Douglas went to the back line, you gave him a big rap, and he played like a man possessed. Then you fingered Dennis Stubbs, and straight off the ground he goes.
And wide for Sam.
Andrew Pickering's the man that's come on. There's Ibrahim's handball.
Easy! Just call it, guys, call
There's
it!
Griffin kicking the ball forward.
I know. Just call it. Don't want to be sitting on the bench for 6
Yes.
weeks.
David Rhys-Jones and Jason McBean are scuffling in the other end of the ground. That was why the umpire was calling out easy, because Rhys-Jones has moved up to full forward for Frankston. Nice kick by Payne into Scott Dwayne. Over Dower's head. Chance for O'Neill.
But it's interesting, Ross, you say that because McBean's picked him up, but what McBean's doing is going with him and annoying him.
Yeah.
Now, that's what you expect as a captain, coach. The players will annoy you. And it, keeps you thinking. You've got to think, in a variety of ways about your game. If you go out and you're the key player and no one even bothers with you. Easy as pie.
McMurley snap marked by Dower on the line. So he can kick his fourth.
Yes, he's had a go, hasn't he, Dower? And again, I say that if he just had the cover of Wilkinson, that side would look so much better in the forward half. And the ball has come out so easily at times.
Speaking of Darren Wilkinson, he went for a run before the match, 25 Ks with 25 minutes rather with Peter Burke. Burke expects to be back week, Wilkinson the week after, so it's some news. Now Dower, he played on, so that's what that player came diving in. Was he 10 metres away? I wonder. Anyway, he's got it behind.
Yes, umpire Votso up speaking to David Rees-Jones.
And I think David Rees-Jones may be asking how close this player...
And Rees-Jones speaking to umpire Votso.
He got that lovely butterwood and melt in your mouth look about him, Rees-Jones, hasn't he?
Rees, don't worry.
He's been a great character over the years, Rees-Jones. Having a word to McBean.
It's Ryan from full-back, kicking it into Burnell. Charles. Stephen Ryan tackling, and the handle from Cohen, who hasn't been even a centimetre to work in today. Bruce Cohen, I know here at Box Hill they speak so highly of him. John Murphy, a big rap for Cohen, but other teams now starting to sit on him. Slater getting the ball down. Kick forward from Payne. Good hands from Charles. He's got better as the game's gone on. Ashley Charles. Oh, it's McNamara's mark. All Box Hill there.
Oh, that's a very high handball.
Eddie's handball across way to Greg. Des Ryan trying to hold that player off, who was Dwyer for Box Hill. Dower chased down by Ryan. Looking very fit at the moment. Des Ryan, who came to Frankston as a forward, but looking at home in the last line of defence. Charles's kick is dangerous. George almost good enough to mark it. Dwayne's handball. George gets it off to Atkinson. McNamara. Now he needs to shepherd for Cohen. He's forced over the boundary line. It was just a bit of a pat on the side of the head, Phil, wasn't it?
No, I think Johnny McNamara just threw the body in as a little show of strength.
That male bonding you were talking about, Philip, it's frowned upon these days.
It sure is, but it's a terrible thing.
Stubbs, but found Goodale. Bit of a push by Pickering, Justin, against Heath Goodale.
Down the field, I think he's called it Roscoe. After he's kicked the ball.
Early to take the kick. O'Neill brings the ball back to him, so... It'd be worth having a look at Rees-Jones and McBean. They're up the other end. Jared O'Neill, meantime, will line up for Box Hill's 10th goal as the umpire there is Rees-Jones and McBean, the umpire. Talking to them again. For number 10 for Box Hill, or
Misses.
just to the right, is it? Or is it good enough?
He's just... He just wiped the sweat off McBean's brow then, Rees-Jones.
He's called the runner, Phil. He's called the runner to him. I wonder...
Phil.
Move me.
Phil Partington, the runner.
Ah, it is too.
Yes, I thought I recognised him. Yeah. Now, Des Ryan, he's kept it in play for long enough. Pat on the back for Dower there, making it hard for the Frankston players to get it clean away from the kick-in. That's Goodale. And they've been hard to snap from that side of the ground today. Invariably gone right across the face of goal. Now, Dennis Stubbs has come back on the ground. Who was that Frankston player that just taken off?
I could see them struggling a little bit with some of those tools. You know, I reckon Lee Taylor and Richards does. Throwing another tool in against a good side might find them out, Frankston.
Saliba. Well, Stephen Ryan telegraphed that one. Oh, over the top of Cohen. Goes Richard Stubbs. And an infringement. Bruce Cohen getting into the play. Good kick over the head of Ibrahim. Kicked forward by Grace. O'Neill And Burnell will take it through.
83 points is the difference in favour of Frankston, on their way to a third straight win.
It's a lot of
Top
points.
of the ladder.
Reece
David
Jones.
Rees-Jones, the coach, first year in the VFL. Jason McBean, his minder at the moment. Straight at that, there is Payne.
And then Jason McBean's doing a Mr. Bean on poor old Reece at the moment, being very annoying. Dean Burnell looking at the ankle.
Been a warm day, Phil.
Yes. Beautiful weather in Melbourne.
As it has been all week. Now, Justin Pickering back on the ground. They certainly worked their bench today, Frankston, even though they've been in command all day. Is it deliberate? Yes, it's been paid.
I've got to send a cheerio too to Kerner Brush from all the Box Hill boys in the hospital at the moment. So all the very best, Kerner, with that operation. And I know it's not such a good day for the Mustangs, but stay tuned.
Now O'Neill, can he thread this one on the non-preferred side? It's gone pretty close. Yes, well done, Jared O'Neill. His first goal of the day. And they come to him from everywhere. They know he needs a bit of a pick-up, Jared O'Neill, and that will do him no harm at all. He's got better, Phil, I think, in the last half.
Yeah, well, it's just a matter of doing a few things that gives him the confidence, Peter. He's not really putting himself in and laying the tackles. Once he does a couple of times and realises that the knee's going to stand up, he'll be fine. It's, you know, it's difficult. When you do that knee a second time, as he did, you'll really lose your confidence. They're terrible things.
3 goals to 1 in favour of Box Hill in the term. Saliba and Sean Mullane, who's had quite a few possessions on the bench. Stubbs flying high again. Hasn't taken many grabs. One spectacular one early in the match. McNamara out.
He's about that number 2, isn't he?
He's always there or thereabouts. If you're out there, you'd know he wouldn't be far away. Just laying a couple of nice bumps here and there to let blokes know he's still playing.
McNamara, the other number 2, gets it across to Goodale, who's been one of Box Hill's best today. Very close to the boundary line, but he's found his man. This is Dwyer.
He hasn't gone. Play on.
Pat Dwyer gets a lead from Dower. That's Goodale who's drifted down with the mark.
Well, lifted his game, Goodale, considerably.
I've been quite impressed with Darren Payne here.
Yes.
Oh, they've got plenty of men in the position here, Box Hill. Oh, that wasn't a very good effort from Dower. Should have taken it first time. Handball across from Grace, and it's taken away by George. It's going to come back, though. This is Cohen. Putting some respectability into the scoreboard, at least Box Hill in this last quarter. Payne gets it across to Eddie. Now, he missed with the left foot in the first quarter. 2 goals he should have kicked, but that was much better. So Travis Eddy gets his second goal of the day. And certainly finishing the game off well, Box Hill.
Yes, they've kicked 4 goals to 1 so far in the term. Off comes Burnell, and we see the build-up to this goal.
This is more like you expect a left-footer to kick.
Yes, a very long kick from outside 50.
But still margin, 71 points. Pickering off again with that cut over the eye. And Mullane comes back on. Andrew Pickering.
That looked a nasty one, Ross. Did he have sutures in it?
Yes.
Yeah. Coming up with the Vaseline. Used to know a bloke who used to eat Vaseline at training.
The great old
Did he
set.
have any chewy at
No, it was if he'd had a couple of drinks after work on the way to train, he'd stick the Vass in the mouth, and so the coach couldn't spot the fact he'd had a couple. He knows who he is too.
Yeah. Those were the days, the 70s.
The 70s were great, Ross.
Yeah,
I tell you, they were good.
Stephen Ryan.
Anti-Vietnam marches, all that sort of thing.
You're saying we need a good war, Philip, are you?
Just kidding.
McNamara leads Taylor. Oh. Kicks inside 50. And Box Hill Their march forward is stopped by Saliba this time. Well, ordinary kick. Very
When you're
ordinary
ready,
kick.
Jolsey, when
Well,
you're
they're
ready.
going to legalise pot now, aren't they? Ross will be like the 70s, the late 90s, won't it?
I don't think they're going to the way. I'm not battered by
I
Charles.
tell you, it's a very interesting one in a sporting context
Yeah,
because
sure
I mean,
is.
you know, it's a recreational drug that is tested for.
Yeah,
so if
that's
it
right.
becomes legal, well,
Yeah.
they've got to rewrite a lot of rules.
They have to rewrite a bit of footy history. But Box Hill is fighting the game out now.
I wouldn't thought it was performance enhancing though. That's
Yes, well, who knows?
up goes. Oh, Grace, good mark.
That's Mark right there.
There's certainly much more purpose to the Mustangs. It'll be a better week if they can finish on a high, which they are. Dower, almost
yes.
good enough.
Good enough.
And Cohen was strong at the ball in any case. A good sign.
Yes, those on-ballers are really critical. I suppose today when you think about it, Ross, Livingston not doing well in the midfield really cuts them back a bit, doesn't it? And then you look at the likes of Cohen, who they really need in it, and then Dower. That's good. Can he make it? Goal number 4.
You know where he is, Des?
Well, he's hooked it a bit.
Yes, I would think.
Phil Cleary thinks yes, but
No, I should have thought. Just to the left.
4-2. Yes, so he's...
A point, not a minor score, Ross.
Thanks, Philip. Brett Greig. Taking a while to pick it up. Little tap by Richard Stubbs. Took possession. Thrown to the ground by Douglas. Pushed in the back by Griffin. On Brett Bowie.
70 points the difference in favour of the Dolphins. Here's Mullane. Nearly hooked it in. Allsops, handball out there to Eddie. Oh, Goodale, Reece Jones coming at him. No one flinched there. Heath Mead got in like a terrier. Found Lee Taylor. He's been quiet since...
Oh, well done,
really.
Mullane.
The tackle on Slater. Knocked
Excellent.
it away. Here's Lee Taylor. He's well caught by Dwyer. This is Taylor's high one. And the mark's taken by Dennis Stubbs, who should goal from 25 metres out.
Needs
Slight
to.
angle.
I love seeing that, what Mullane did in that contest. The ball was past him, was a bad kick. It was rounded up by the Box Hill player, and he laid a fantastic tackle and won the ball back. And the
No
goal
problems.
will be due to that magnificent tackle by Sean Mullane.
And Dennis Stubbs gets his first goal. The first of the quarter for Frankston, or is it the second? Second, in fact.
We'll see Mullane there. Lays a ripper of a tackle. Was that on McBean there? No, the big bloke, Slater. In the old language is about 6'5" or 6. And that's tremendous play by Mullane. And the result is a goal.
So, first goal to Dennis Stubbs. Lots of flying. And Richard has all the goals. He's kicked 8. Charles in the way. Got away from Murley, but was in trouble for a moment. And in the centre, Jared O'Neill and Stephen Ryan.
Yeah, there was a bit going on there. It was a two-man melee, and it went to Ryan.
I think they'd be fined $7.50 for that one.
And the Standing Committee on Spoken English, the ABC, does say it is melee.
Did they?
Yes.
Not Malay.
Not
as in
Melee, or Melee.
Or Melee. That's 70s again.
That's
Ross.
right, that's
PFA.
right. Don't bring that up again.
There's Moore's kick. Dennis Stubbs didn't get there. Almost a mark there to Box Hill. Oh. The fist comes down to Ibrahim. Back to Douglas. Cohen got a good shepherd and out in to get the handball away. Ends up with Griffin. It was Payne that gave him the handball. Dwayne's squaring kick. Oh, it was in the son of Des Ryan, and Dower takes the opportunity to steal it away. See Des Ryan shield his eyes and stop. Wasn't sure where the ball was. And Dower will line up for his 4th goal. This to make the difference 70 points again in favour of Frankston. Brent Dower going for his 5th goal. He's already kicked one in this last quarter. It's there. So they've won this quarter, Box Hill. That's something. 70 points the difference.
What was it, 87 at half-time, Peter? So
Three-quarter.
So three-quarter, a 17-point turnaround in the last quarter. That's important. Down on your luck, down on your confidence. And you really got to work hard at the grassroots, on the deck. And they're doing that. That's exactly what they are doing. The likes of Cohen that Ross Booth pointed out earlier, in the middle of the ground, working hard. Goodale getting in amongst it.
Payne.
Yes. So that's much better.
And Greg's there too for Box Hill.
Douglas rucking in this.
But there's a contest. Good effort. Bowie with a little hand pass. Reece Jones.
That's a good handball,
Well,
isn't it?
terrific.
That is a superb handball. Kick the goal.
David George. He's kicked 3. Cross the
Didn't have
face of
to.
the lane. No time to waste. It's his first. He's had a pretty good day.
Hasn't Reece Jones got the most beautiful hands? You know, the balance and the swoop. If we do see it, maybe it's too far back, but the way he picks it up, Reece Jones, he always has eyes for the ball. So one of the great things about his play, real courage, and he put out that ball to George, long left. You watch this. Look at this left-handed handball. One grab. That's about, what, Ross, a 10-metre?
Yeah,
over a longer 12, 13. And George, and look at the kick. Bang, right to the square. That's just superb football from the captain, coach, and George. And that fella...
So 5 goals to 3 is the scoreline in the final term. As Phil said, 76 points the margin. And Stubbs back in the ruck. Richard. Reece Jones charging through. Mark Yates. Missed the man, though. Up to O'Neill. Has kicked that 1 goal. Another one to boost his confidence. He's taking his time, which is sensible. Ticking up towards 28 minute. The goal would boost his confidence. He's hooked it. Might not quite get the distance. Charles contesting with Burley.
He's certainly improved his kicking, Jared O'Neill, but he's still a bit uncoordinated or lacking in precision when he kicks the ball. Certainly a lot better, though. There's Pickering there on the bench. Had a cut, went off with the blood rule, few stitches. Reece Jones then again. Beautiful mark, used the body. Oh! What a scorcher that was from that man, Richard Stubbs, who's kicked 7 goals for the game. Must be up amongst Ross Booth's best.
Yes, McBean holding out Dennis Stubbs.
Look at that
on
for a
mark.
grab.
Look at the one from Richard. Not quite as good, I don't think, as George's mark in the first quarter. Spearing pass from Payne. Dwayne's kick is a good one, and here's Dower. He'll line up for his 6th goal.
There's the mark, mate. There it is.
Well, that's right. He's kicked 4 in the second half. Dower, my reckoning, 2 in the third, 2 in the fourth. And he's been lively, but it's really come from the midfield because they've made the play. Sung it.
Clear mark.
Well, Phil, they've got something to work on
Well, they
from this
certainly have.
last half performance.
Well, I think, Peter, when you talk, you know, if your confidence is down, it's very important that you actually work at the bottom, work your way up, and laying tackles, winning at ground level and winning contests and just moving it through the midfield, giving your forwards more of the ball and more opportunities is the most critical thing to do. And this has happened in the last quarter, and that will give them some confidence that they can actually refine a bit of form in the next couple of weeks. Not sure that who they've got next week. Box Hill. I'll tell you in a minute.
That's Atkinson's kick. Well, they've got Port Melbourne, Phil. They've got some tough run
tough.
now. They've
Very
got a very tough run. Allsop hit very hard.
Ooh, Heath, that is very dangerous.
Just a correction on Brent Dower. I had him for 6 goals. That was his 5th as before.
Yes, 6-3 in this third quarter, isn't it, to Dow?
Yeah. Two, I think, Phil. Yeah,
Two, isn't it? I've got one somewhere else. Anyway.
Yeah, Payne kicked one. Anyway, down the ground here, Allsop. What's the summation of all that, Phil?
Oh, I don't know. There's a bit of pushing and pulling and all sorts of things going on. It had been paid down the field, I think.
Offense!
Richard Stubbs handball. Finds Atkinson, who backs himself. He's gone.
Handballed it away.
Ooh, did it go away, though? I thought it was still in possession.
Well, he worked it out. He handballed it away to avoid the holding the ball.
Elaine cannot believe it, Phil.
Well, she's got every reason to be angry. That's what footy's about, taking it out on the umpires, who we know are rarely right when they go against you.
Charles's kick. There's the mark taken by Goodale. Has been a good ale, good brew today, Heath, as he kicks it into the pocket, knocked away by Steve Ryan from
Particularly in the
Jarrahdale.
second half, Peter. Goodale has really worked hard. He and Cohen been real drivers.
Back up the ground. Heath Mead wrestling with Allsop. McNamara and Taylor. A bit of a shudder there to the jaw of Taylor. And don't develop into a melee. I don't think it can be a melee, Phil, if they're all standing upright, can it? I think the siren's gone. That might be a good way to finish it.
Well, there you see how silly it can be, the old wrestling there, because there's nothing in it. But Heath Mead, of course, he just kept coming back, and now they're best of mates. But, you know, there's every chance it'll escalate into something.
Anyway, it's all over. And Frankston, that's the biggest score of the year. But in the last quarter, they were outscored by 20 points by Box Hill. And under captain coach Rhys Jones, they are 3-0. Frankston on top of the ladder with a very convincing victory here today.
Looking good, Peter. Looking very good. Nicely balanced. Have to work out that forward setup, I would think, in the long term. Rhys Jones, whether he can carry all those talls, will be decided when he plays some of the better sides. But he's got plenty to work with.
No doubt about that. A lot of contributors. 68 points was the 69 points was the victory today. And Box Hill, well, that's 3 games without a victory. If you count practice matches, the last 2 games of last year, they have lost 8 straight matches, Box Hill.
I just can't
This
get
is
it
Clark,
right.
who dominated in the ruck in the first half. And David Rhys Jones having a few words at the end of the game. I don't think he'd be happy with the way they finished it off. At three-quarter time, he said, as soon as we start thinking we're pretty good, we're going to run into trouble. And maybe that's what he's trying to reiterate here, but certainly they have been very impressive in the first 3 weeks. Ross Booth has the Vic Safe man of the match for round 3.
And our Vic Safe man of the match today is Brett Bowie, the Frankston Rover, and firstly the Vic Safe tanker from Superintendent Warren Murdoch.
Congratulations, Brett, on a fine game, and on behalf of Vic Safe, present you with the Vic Safe
Thanks
award.
very much.
That's right, Brett. And Stan Petty of Coffee Ford has the keys to the Ford Laser.
Congratulations, Brett. I present you with the keys on behalf of Coffee Ford, Coffee Ford Laser.
Thanks a lot.
Sean Malone was being rather rude, saying, do you want some yellow pages to stand on?
Yeah, he's a bit like that, Sean, isn't he? It's a good win today. Pretty disappointing how we finished off. Should have really buried him out here, but, you know, it's good to get the 4 points and look forward to next week.
Well, yes, they did come home stronger. They had to do something, I suppose. But David Rhys Jones had a big impact on Frankston. The play looked very disciplined and very positive.
Yeah, he's instilled a lot of discipline into us, and the team plan's working perfectly at the moment. And, you know, we picked up a few good players at the start of the year, Daniel Clark and the Stubbers, so we're looking for a good year.
I suppose, too, that some of those, yourself, second year of the club, and those Dandenong players took a while to gel together.
Yeah, well, the start of last year we lost, I think, the first 7 or something, and then towards the end of the year we got used to how each other played and gelled together.
And the other thing I've noticed, finally, a lot of big crowds at Frankston for home games.
Yeah, I think Reece pulls a few in the gates. They love to come and see him have a bit of a go, so it's good.
I'm sure if they keep having a go the way you are and the Dolphins play that way, they'll have good crowds at Frankston.
I'd just like to thank
yes.
Vic Safe and Coffee Ford.
Good, thanks. Brett Bowie, our Vic Safe man.
Should be very happy with the way things are going down there at Frankston. all smiles, and Heathmead getting a bit of a hug there from Lee Taylor. Those two really didn't have a great influence today, but Heath well worn by Allsop, and a big kiss for Brett Bowie. Phil, he's probably one of the unsung players in the VFA stroke VFL. Had a very good year last year, won representative honours and well on the way again.
He's a very creative player, Peter. His handballs are excellent, and he's always looking sideways for players, and that's correct. He was very good last year. You know, I mean, one of the problems is the Frankston team. You know, they offer you so much, and then they fall away. But
flattered
really,
to deceive. I have the feeling not in. What are we in, 96?
Well, look, I mean, you know, the law of probabilities would suggest that at some point they're going to crack it and get it right. I think they've got it right with the coach they've selected this year, and I think that's your starting point, really. When you've got everything else right, as you have at Frankston, financial and all the rest of it.
What about Box Hill, just quickly,
well,
Phil? 19 points better than Frankston in this last quarter.
Well, that's encouraging for them, but they've got their problems, Peter. They depend so heavily on Wilkinson up forward. You know, Dower did well, but it's too uneven there. And you see Stubbs there, who really ploughed a kick 7 goals. The other problem with Box Hill, O'Neill is a key player and he's not playing well, you know, and that really worries you. The Smalls came into the game, but, you know, they got their problems.
Okay, and there's a goal there from Eddie on the left foot. Yes, as I said, 69 points was the final margin, and the round coming up to be completed tonight. Under lights, North Ballarat will be playing Springvale. Coburg playing at Port Melbourne tomorrow. That is a Coburg home game. Preston against Sandringham, with Werribee playing Terrelgan. Williamstown have the bye. Next week, we're seeing the Preston Knights for the first time in their new guise, and they'll be playing Springvale. That game is at Victoria Park, Collingwood. I don't know where the Box Hill came in. Is at Victoria Park. We hope you can join us live then for that one. But today, no doubt about who was the superior side, and they are going to take a lot of tossing. Frankston, Rhys Jones keeping a lid on things, but, well, inside, I'm sure he is absolutely delighted with their start to the season. Lost the last 7. They've won the first 3 of 1996 under the hyphen. And, well, Box Hill, hopefully they can get a few of those injured back and start back on the road to recovery. Hope you've enjoyed things this afternoon from the City Oval, and I say goodbye on behalf of all our VFL team.